And welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs to NECC Week 9 of Valpo Esports' League of Legends. This week versus Tiffin. I'm your host, Dikembe. I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And as we hop into draft here, Tiflin opening up with Aurelion Sol and the Xayah ban. A-Sol just still being really strong even outside of, the first initial push that he had when his new rework dropped. But Valpo going with the Ezreal and the Wukong ban. Wukong being insanely strong right now, and same with Ezreal. Ezreal has dropped off a little bit, but Wukong still just being insanely tough to fight, especially with that passive armor. Um,
Yeah, and these bands coming in, from Valpo, I think is kind of, what we talked about, just kind of scouting these were champions that we'd seen Tiffin play a lot of, and
yep.
Tiffin is going to be first picking Diana here.
Definitely. We might be seeing a Diana Yasuo angle here. We know that a lot of airborne troops, or a lot of airborne champions like to combo with them. And knowing that Valpo kind of had a hard time with that matchup a lot of the other seasons, seeing it come out now, Diana just being very strong first pick. Vapo looking to pick up a Jinx, pick up the bot lane, right? Kind of get that tempo in, and then the Jinx Melio to secure it. This is going to be the first week we get to see Valpo on stream playing the new champ Melio, and we know they've been trying out this Jinx Melio combo, especially with the range, and it's really strong. But Tiflin knowing that hey, you want to take a scaling comp, right? You want to take someone that likes to farm, wants to try and keep away from pressure. We're going to put the pressure on. We're going to draft a Kai'Sa Nautilus back, a very aggressive bot lane to go back right in. And honestly, with how fast that draft was, I feel like Tiflin knew exactly what they were looking for there.
Yeah, 100%. And, like you said, first time seeing Valpo play Emilio. I mean, first time really seeing anyone. I think this is the first week that, he is allowed in the NECC. So very interested to see, how this plays out and how Valpo is able to play around, Steamroller 14 on Emilio.
Oh, definitely. It's so strong right now. Melio is a very, very strong champion, because he has a lot of utility along with his healing, right? He's not just a healer. He offers a lot more to his team, especially through his passive on hit. But Valpo, we talked about the Yasuo Diana angle, going with the Yasuo ban first. If you're not going to draft it immediately, gonna have to force Tiffin into, some type of other angle around that Diana because Diana is a champ that you need to focus early game. If you don't focus her early game, if you don't get her fed, it's going to become really, really hard for her to start scaling in that late game. And she's someone that can carry you through that early mid, right? You get a little bit of damage on her, she becomes a lane bully with her Q. And it becomes really tough to face her, and you can kind of use that to let the rest of your team scale, especially when you have such an aggressive bot lane like Kai'Sa Nautilus.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it makes total sense to, eliminate the Yasuo, eliminate that deadly combo that we talked about. And then, Tiffin, of course, targeting Jakimbo in the mid lane.
Yep,
We've seen him have success both on the Talia and the Gragas, so getting rid of those. And
definitely.
Valpo taking a while here to make their fourth pick, but it is going to be Cho'Gath coming in.
I do like this Cho'Gath pick. Excuse me, a really strong blind pick, and I think also like looking at the bans that Tiffin threw, not only just getting the Talia out of the way because we know Emma Jacimbo loves to play that Talia, but Gragas is such a strong blind pick. They really don't want Jacimbo to take their pick now, right? You want to force that top lane. You want to try and get a top lane advantage here, right? By banning out those two. Now you take the Garen into the Cho'Gath, right? Someone that can really run down Cho'Gath, kind of move in and out of his abilities because that's the hardest thing about fighting Cho'Gath is that his abilities have a really wide range. So you need someone that's going to not only scale along with Cho'Gath passive and heal along with it, right? Which Garen passive does, but now you have the speed to kind of kite around his abilities and make it really hard for Cho'Gath to get that kind of swift combo in into the R. And then finally, Tiffin picking the Hecarim. I so we haven't really seen Hecarim be that strong recently in our NECC matches, but honestly, I like this pick.
Yeah,
I like this.
but just talk to me a little bit about, how the lanes are gonna work out. Is
Oh
this
yeah.
Hecarim in the mid lane, I'm guessing then?
Oh no, we're gonna see the Diana in the mid lane.
Diana in the mid lane. Okay.
That's why it's kind of like a really strong first pick, right? Because you want that blind where you don't know if Diana is going to be jungle or mid.
Right. Okay.
And like I said before, you really need to focus Diana now because her being in the mid lane, she doesn't have any secured farming anymore. Right? There's no more jungle camps to go. There's no more easy picks when it comes to ganking lanes, right? You can rotate really well, but you're going to need to really focus that Diana mid lane. And I mean, Hecarim's a great mid lane ganker. It's one of the things he does best. So on Valpo's side, picking up the Cassiopeia, someone that not only builds that Rod of Ages, builds a little bit tankier in lane, but has that scaling move speed, and overall can just really lane bully Diana. I think that's the biggest thing is you can't give Diana anything in this game, right?
Yeah.
Because she will take over. Well, we'll see it happen if she does start to get scaled and fed. So you pick a lane bully like Cass, who can walk up, who can E really fast, right? Immediately move you off wave, has a lot of zoning opportunities with her W and her R. It's a strong pick into someone that needs the hyperscale. It's why Cass is really great into Cassidon, or I say Cassiopeia, right? Why Cassiopeia is great into Cassidon, great into Diana, great into these really, really heavy scaling comps. And overall, just really strong right now, especially with how strong Rod of Ages is.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think there's, kind of a lot of interesting things, coming out here in the draft, especially, kind of looking at the Cho'Gath in the top lane because,
Yep.
I believe we're going to have Zaxter up there
Yeah.
playing this Cho'Gath,
Mhm.
which is not a role we see him on very often. So,
Yeah, I mean, usually we do see Zaxter in the jungle, and you see this Cho'Gath pick, right? And my first thought is, oh, Anaya's got Cho'Gath. Like this is
uh-huh.
a good pick, right? We like to see Cho'Gath. We like to see Anaya's Cho'Gath because she's really strong in that champ. But I I'm excited to see how Zaxter's doing.
Yeah.
I'm looking
I
forward
mean,
to it,
I know he's
honestly.
been playing a little bit of top lane lately. I know, this is the sub that we've been talking about with,
Yep.
Dreadful moving down to play ADC. We kind of now need that secondary top laner. So Zaxter just kind of doing it all, really. And
Definitely. I mean, hey, when you have to flex for the team, you have to flex for the team. And he
100%.
he's being a team player here, having to pick up a different role. He's put the effort into learning this spot, so I'm excited to see how he's going to do today. And obviously, the team isn't expecting him to win lane, right, or go crazy in solo lane
Right.
against a normal top laner. But I think it's important to see how he's going to stack up in these team fights, kind of because a lot of it just comes out with chemistry, and we know that Zaxter likes to play with his team. So.
Yeah, I mean, as we take another look at, the drafts here, they've now locked in the actual client. I mean, the other big focus is, of course, going to be this Milio, breaking it out for the first time in the NECC.
Yep.
And I mean, we know how aggressive, this combo Steamroller and Dreadful in the bot lane is. So I think it's going to be all about, kind of those early game engagements, right?
Definitely. I think those early game fights in the bot lane are going to be really important for Hecarim because you're going to see now he needs Diana to scale up, and you have a really fast fighting bot lane. His clear is going to be immediately, starting on blue side. His clear is going to be he's going to go from blue, immediately try and run that bot side river because you have that mid lane Diana to get fed, and you have an aggressive bot lane somewhere. We talked about Hecarim struggling a lot in our last couple games, but it was because he couldn't really fight. Yeah, there wasn't many fights going on where Hecarim could be a part of it. There wasn't much scaling going on. Hecarim really couldn't, get his team ahead. But now you have two lanes that fight that's really strong, and you have a Garen in the top lane who can just take like 50 punches, walk back, and heal most of his health back, right, due to his passive healing. So you have kind of that AFK lane in the top side where even if he doesn't do good, does do well, Hecarim still has opportunity to ganks. Opportunity to gank. So I'm excited to see how Tiffin plays around this lane. But I mean, then we go to Valpo's side. It's somewhat the same story. I mean, outside of maybe the mid lane, right? Because Cass, you're not really looking for too much of a gank outside of maybe Cass R. So you're not going to have so much of an early opportunity to gank, but we will see. I mean, Vi and Cass throws W down. Vi almost has a free Q, right? A few free dash in. But we might see a lot of counter opportunity, and I kind of like this Vi pick for that, right? Is that she's very strong fighting in counter jungle. So when Hecarim decides to dive in, right, you want to pop that ghost, you want to pop your E, immediately run in, try to hit someone, right?
Yeah.
Vi is really good at punishing those kind of dives in. So I think we're going to see Nolan play a little bit, more tentatively, kind of towards his jungle, but more reactionary based. And I think that's the best way Valpo can get in this game. But I mean, that doesn't mean he can't just start a gank, right? If there's
Right.
something there, you have to get your lanes ahead.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, the last big piece I want to touch on here, is this Garen in the top lane for Tiffin, and kind of how does that change their approach? I mean, what is going to be their style, with this Garen
Mhm.
and this Kaisa? I mean, kind of how are they going to be looking to start these fights and win these engagements?
Yeah, so I think the strongest part about Garen is that he becomes just such a tank and such a fast tank as well. You build Stride Breaker, right? You build some of the speed. He becomes someone that can run at your backline. That's because Garen is not really looking for a ton of CC. There's not much CC he has, but he has suppression, right? He has his suppression. He has this extra armor that he gets when he spins, right? He has a lot of tankiness that comes to him. It allows him to quickly dive to backline, run through people. You have almost an execute. You have like a true damage ultimate, right? You have a really fast backline dive, and then you enter in with Hecarim as well, with Diana. Any choke point that you have, it's really hard for Jinx and Milio to back up, right? Because once Milio throws that Q, you don't really have much more peel other than like the move speed that he can grant. But that's kind of how Garen will factor into these fights. I feel like is that we'll see him immediately start diving and trying to focus Jinx. So it's going to be on Valpo to try and peel. You do have Cho'Gath knock up, you have Cassio stunned, especially when someone's trying to run at you face up. Really, really good. And we're going to see Jakimbo kind of show out today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. The key for Valpo is kind of keeping Dreadful alive and then, also letting Jakimbo, on that Cassiopeia to do what Jakimbo does and,
Hmm.
get those kills and frag out for them. As we are finally done with the spectator delay, we're loading in and we can get a look at these summoners.
Yep, I mean, everything looks pretty normal, quite frankly. You're not really you really don't want too much deviation here. You have the airy runes, you have the bot lane rune, you have the lethal tempo, going with the scaling runes as well. Um, there's not much you want to change up because if let's say you take a different set of runes into this matchup, that just changes the play completely, right? And I feel like it's just not beneficial right now for Valpo too because there's a there's a real way to play this right now.
Yeah, 100%. Also, always love to take a look at the skins. Of course, Steamroller, no skin on the Milio here. I don't
Yep.
know. Have they dropped any of those yet, or?
They do have the one fairy court skin that he dropped with,
Okay.
but I mean, quite frankly, I'm more of a fairy court Ezreal person myself. I mean, it's all right. Femboy Ezreal is all I need at this point, really. So, um, but I mean, it's a good skin. I have to give credit. It is a good skin. Its abilities are nice. It's a very happy, cute skin,
Yeah.
right? Like it's very like colorful and stuff like that. So it's clean.
And I mean, the other bold move here is, total fighting on the side of Tiffin, going with no skin on the Kaisa either.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Mhm.
I think they mean business here, is
Yeah.
what that means.
I mean, you're seeing right here, right? It's aggressive bot lane. Valpo has to be really careful here because if they don't recognize that they're hiding in this bush, this might just be a level 1 kill. Um, Knowing that Hecarim, like we talked about, wanting to run that bot lane, starting on that blue side, right? Gonna start blue side, immediately walk down. He's gonna have that bot lane river to go, and because he doesn't need leash, this allows them to sit in this bush for a level 1.
All right, let's see
But
what's
you have
gonna
to be
happen
careful here.
here.
Yep, it looks like they are looking for something here. Nautilus did show a little bit too early after the ward, just having to walk out. And there won't be a level 1 kill, which is good for Valpo because now they're just in a better position. But you're going to see Nautilus walk up and get an early hook as well. Melio just hitting a couple of shots. And it's going to be a heavy trade for Valpo.
I was gonna say, I mean, you hit the hook, but you weren't able to, capitalize. Valpo actually getting more damage off there.
Yeah,
So
I think it might have just been a little bit of a miscommunication because you saw, I mean, this Kaisa focused more on farming that wave while Nautilus walked up, just didn't really have the backup for it to hit on that Jinx. And we're seeing right here, this is kind of the issue with this Garen lane. We do hit the level 2 and the silence, and it's going to be a huge chip on that Cho'Gath.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, I think Zaxter's job is, just kind of to stay alive and, do what he can to get through this laning phase, as it's not his main role here.
Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna see right now it is playing Cho'Gath, right, is a little bit forgiving, right? Getting that health back on deaths, on kills, it is really helpful for at least trying to get back into this game. So he kind of has the luxury to take a couple of these trades, but he does have to be careful here. Um, Garen is just really strong in that early, right?
Yeah. I mean, once he gets in that, top form, he's just spinning all around you.
Yeah.
You
Once
can,
once he goes once he goes Beyblade mode,
yeah,
it's a
Beyblade.
little
There
bit
you go.
tough.
Yes.
Yep. You ever watch Beyblade as a kid, Mike?
No, I didn't watch it, but I played with
Man.
them a good little bit.
All right.
Those
Yeah,
arenas.
that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
respectable. All right. Beyblade is that little part of my childhood that like not many people know about, but man, I wish people knew more.
yeah. Oh
And we are
yeah.
gonna see here, hook on the bot side. We do see Hecarim in that river as well. A lot of chips, the exhaust going out. It looks like Jinx might be able to walk up here at W as well, going really low. You have to be careful. Diana and Hecarim invaded the jungle, but might leave their bot lane out to dry here as they won't get anything but a little bit of priority. Cassio being forced to clear that wave. Cassio's wave clear isn't as strong as Diana's, so we're going to see a lot more of this Diana kind of roaming. But you just have to give up a little bit of CS for that. And it was a risky play. I mean, Tiffin has to go for those, try to get that Hecarim early. Try to get that Diana early, but good on Valpo for just being heads up and looking. And there's another huge hook. There's the ghost from Hecarim as well, knocking in the flash coming out from Nelio, and the flash from Nautilus as well, trying to get that hook in the auto. The
And
ignite went off, but then the heal from Dreadful saves them. It looks like they will try to turn this damage, but there's another hook from the Nautilus being in that bush. He's just not missed today.
I was gonna say I don't think he's missed a single one of these hooks, but really good job by Steamroller to be able to get out alive there. That was well set up by Tiffin with the Hecarim rotating down, and they're kind of unlucky not to get a kill there, really.
Definitely. I mean, you did have a lot of sums blown there. You had the ghost, you had a heal, you had a flash blown, and while you did also blow summoner cells on Steamroller as well, it just becomes really tough. Here comes a gank in the top side as well, trying to get this top side early, and there's a first blood going to Zaxter.
That was not on my bingo card.
I mean, hey, you see the Hecarim bot side, right? You know that Vi had to reset.
Uh,
Immediately, Vector recognizes that and goes, hey, we have to get something topside, saw it was available, go to gank. That's just jungling 101, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's what Vector does so well is recognizing those opportunities and being able to get aggressive and get these advantages for Valpo. So I mean, first blood to Zaxter on Cho'Gath, of course.
Yep. I mean, I talked about it as well, kind of playing that reactionary game, right? And that's a reactionary move right there. You know that Hecarim's going to have to make the first move. So when he made that move, right, I mean, it was a lot of trust in that bot lane, right? Quite frankly, kind of unlucky they didn't get a kill from that. But because your bot lane survived that, now you play the reaction game. You go, all right, I can gank this now. I'm free. Nobody else is coming to fight this, right? I know where everyone is on the map. Let's get a free kill.
100%. Things calming back down here, for a minute. Still pretty early on in this game, and pretty even aside from that kill. But Dreadful has been playing very well in this bottom lane. We've seen him put down a lot of damage, and the lead could be a lot more if this Nautilus wasn't hitting so many hooks on the side of Tiffin.
And we'll see Hecarim here as well. The Hex Flash coming out from the Nautilus and the hook as well. Remember, no flash on the Melio. Melio gets airborne as well. Running in, but it's just not going to be enough as the Q for Melio knocks back. Just enough to get away from there. You're seeing why Melio's so strong now, right?
Uh-huh.
This is why he got hooked. But there's another hook from the Nautilus on Dreadful as well. Dreadful still does have flash up there. He is holding it. But I mean, this dude hasn't missed.
No,
he's already got
literally hasn't.
You
So.
need like the MVP medal here, but it looks like they are clearing to try and get this dragon. Do have a bit of an engage. Emma Jakimbo walking up as well. It will be a 3v4, but the bot lane's really low as Julian does pick up a kill on Steamroller, and there might be another one. Emma Jakimbo picks up a third. Vector almost going down, but the R coming from Emma Jakimbo. Vector being able to pick up that kill. But Diana coming in and getting that final ult, trying to get that last shot, and Dreadful does get that, proccing the passive, trying to run down this Diana, and that will be a 2-for-3 trade going to Valpo's favor.
I mean, yeah, that was pretty chaotic. I was trying to follow everything, but, very good on Valpo to kind of turn that fight after I believe Tiffin picked up the first kill there,
Yep.
with Julian getting their first kill of the game, and then I really think it was MF Jakimbo, right,
Yep.
rotating down and being able to put out so much damage that won them that
Yep.
fight.
I mean, Cass being able to rotate first there was huge because without that, there's no way they turn that heck room.
Mhm.
We saw the Diana ult coming in was huge, and Zaxter is in a bad spot here as the E comes out on this heck room. He's trying to walk back, get the knock up. There's the flash as well, and he will get away free. Hecarim just trying to clear a little bit of space here, being really aggressive in these lanes, but just not being too lucky right now.
Yeah, I mean, this Hecarim has, tried to pull off so many ganks here and just not been able to convert the kill. Valpo eluding him on the top and the bottom side. So, early advantage here for Valpo. I don't think we touched on it, but this is actually the number one team in our division in the NECC here. So,
Hmm.
Valpo holding their own.
No, definitely. I mean, there's a lot to prove this game. Right, there's a lot of pressure riding on this game here for Valpo. You want to come in here, right, show out kind of game one, game two, get a feel for it, be able to at least take a little bit in this series and then take it if they can.
Yeah, already guaranteed to be in the playoffs, but if you can end the regular season with a little bit of an upset here, very big confidence booster it would be. So
And we do see right here Tiffin playing really aggressive, trying to get that D board. Just walking around because Dragon is up here. You're going to see Hecker and Path, and they might just start up the drag right now. There it is. Starting up this Dragon. Valpo's going to be late to the rotate, and I don't think it's even worth for Valpo to try and fight this here, as it looks like Drag 1 will just go to Tiffin here. The art comes in, but just not hitting much. They will be walking in the jungle now, trying to three-man this jungle as Kaisa goes back to lane. Take a little bit of this blue buff. It looks like Vector will just give this and try and go for that Rift Herald in this top side.
yeah, definitely you can tell that Tiffin is kind of trying to pressure Dreadful, um, recognizing how important he is to this Valpo team, but he's been doing very well at holding his own and putting out this damage.
Definitely, and we're seeing right now, just trying to get too much, but there comes out the E in as well through the turret. The flash going away from both Dreadful and Steamroller, stopping that Nautilus hook, and he won't get much out of it, but they do blow Summoners. So now Hecarim being able to try to re-gank that lane after maybe a clear, maybe a back, it's going to be a lot easier for them to try and secure anything. And we're seeing here now, Zax, they're getting a couple of health items and starting to do some damage.
Yeah, Zaxter, definitely a bit of a surprising performance here so far in game one. The Giant versus the Beyblade, it looks like.
Yeah, you just have to be a little bit careful though. I mean, we're seeing right now that CS just can't get out of hand, right?
Right.
Because Tiffin CS is pretty far ahead right now, pretty much equalizing their gold lead. Um, so you just have to be careful that you're not prioritizing too much around. There's the Q just trying to stop that back, make sure Nautilus doesn't get anything easy. You have to be careful here because Vector is looking for maybe E over the or Q over the wall. There it is. Just walking up. Here comes Cass as well. Nautilus flashes over the wall, just trying to get away. And now Hex Flash is up. There goes the Beyblade, taking a lot of health. Forcing another Cho'Gath back here.
Yeah, I mean, things definitely, the game state leaning in the favor of Tiffin here, picking up the first dragon and that slight gold lead. So, but, still wide open. Still a lot left to play in this one.
Definitely. We're seeing right now, this kind of game slowly mellow out, right? Just getting used to, but we do see a 11-minute Rod of Ages, which is pretty huge for Cass. Starting up that scaling now, right? Just becoming really tanky. You do have the tier as well, so that's going to max out by the time you get Seraphs. And I mean, Rod of Ages Seraphs, not only is it just like the best combo for Cass right now, but it's just one of the best mages in
Yeah.
general, like
And,
mage combinations in
and I
general
mean,
right now.
you talk about CS, but, that there is one lane where Valpo has the advantage, and it's exactly the one you want. It's
Yep.
Jakimbo's Caston able to kind of accelerate, his pace and be able to pick up those items and get that advantage for them. So.
Yep. Definitely. You have to be careful now for Tiffin because if Diana doesn't start to get much more, right, it's going to start to really scale out of hand for this Cass because Cass does have the better late game. Um, I do feel like, though, Diana still is at a really strong point right now, especially once she gets her Sork boots. That'll probably be her best chance to start to really get a lead on Valpo. We do see Hecarim and Nautilus sitting in this bush here, probably waiting for a Nautilus R. There it is. The Nautilus R coming out, the exhaust as well. The R coming from Steamroller, but it won't be enough as there's a ton of damage just bursting out on this bot side. And that will be Steamroller going down in a 1-0 trade, going to Tiffin. You saw right there, right? I was waiting. I'm like, all right, Nautilus has R up, Hecarim has R up. You do have the quick exhaust and the R coming out from Steamroller being able to cleanse the fear, but it's
Yeah.
just not going to be enough when you have that knock up and you have so much burst damage, especially coming from Kaisa.
Yeah, that Hecarim finally able to convert a gank there after it eluded him for so long. And
Yep.
Tiffin, once again, kind of solidifying that lead. We're up to 1.5k in the gold, and we got a minute till this next dragon. That could be a big swing point in this one.
Definitely. I mean, we're seeing right now as well, Vector has to be really careful with his CS here, getting really far behind on this Hecarim, and just like lane presence in general. Just needs to show a little bit more because you do have the Rift Herald in this bot side, and being able to drop it now, try and get this wave clear. You know that Hecarim's probably going to be the top side after, getting that gank and clearing. Now would be a great time to try and get your bot lane something, try and get their mid rotation happening faster than the other team. And there's the flash as well coming from the Q and the hit as well. The R going up, but it's not going to do much as Kaisa is able to flash back and get out the way. Nautilus is there now, and Diana looks like Diana will be rotating to this bot side. There's the Rift Herald drop, but will it be enough to get on this tower? There's a hit from Nautilus walking up, the Q being forced from Vector, and the Rift Herald being able to knock and just not get too much after that. Overall, good rotation by Diana. Good pull by Nautilus again, being able to just disrupt their play that they had planned.
And the second Drake is now up, and it looks like Valpo might be looking for it. They're going to be hovering around here first.
Second Dragon is up. You do have the Hex Flash over the wall here on this Nautilus. The R coming up as well. There's the Q. Nautilus just hitting everything. Melio being able to peel a little bit, but here comes the whole mid lane. There's the R coming from Diana as well. The R from Hecarim too, getting hit in the back line. Hecarim and Diana picking up kills on Melio and Nolan. Another Q coming in. Cassio gets the R out, being able to kill from Jinx. Jinx proccing passive, getting the double kill as well, trying to run over. Has to be really careful though. One Q from that Kaisa, and she's dead. Trying to get the shot over the wall, but we saw the Diana Q over and finish it off there. I mean, huge impact from that Nautilus being able to throw in ton of Qs, right? We saw the combo between the Diana and the Hecarim. Like I talked about, you get the Sork boots, you get the Hextech rocket belt. It's probably her best chance. And there's just an E right there from Cho'Gath coming in with the TP. It looks like, or not the TP, but just walking down. There's the shot as well, trying to get more here. Maybe gonna be able to get this Kaisa. And there's the hit as well. The double kill going in. Steamroller walking out, just getting Zaxter a little bit more, just playing cleanup crew there.
I mean, yeah.
Although having to give that top turret for it.
Zaxter, so far the bright spot here for Valpo, 3-0 on the Cho'Gath, and he's able to come back in and kind of, save that engagement, and like you said, clean up really with that double kill. So,
I mean, it is looking tough now because, like I talked about, that kind of spike, you really want to start looking for Diana to get stuff. Diana did pick up 2 kills there and 2 assists, right? You got a huge power spike, be able to pick up, another 1,000 gold item, start to get that scaling going. Hecarim is looking really strong right now as well, right? Being able to cheese a couple of bushes, get those kills. It start to scale up a little bit more as well. And for Valpo, they just have to really focus on playing these objectives now. Q from Nautilus not being able to hit there.
I was gonna say he missed one. He
Just
missed the hook.
that was still really close though. That was just like one of the, as Nautilus though, you can't expect to hook everything, right? As Steamroller has told me himself, you play Nautilus expecting to die, right? And we are going to see an engage here as well. The Q coming from Vector. The R as well. The R coming from Hecarim taking a lot of damage. The R coming up from Dreadful being able to pick up the kill on Hecarim. The R from Cassiopeia as well. The dash in being able to pick up the Rift Herald. They do pick up the I as well. The R from Garen taking down the Cho'Gath, trying to run down Garen, almost going down. Emma Chikimbo getting a lot of shots. The Q coming from Vector as well, taking that. Overall fight going to Valpo's side, but you have to remember Diana is on that bot side tower right now trying to take this, so Valpo, in order to even this out, is going to have to take this top wave.
Yeah,
Diana does have a lot of tower taking potential though. She attacks really fast. We do have the TP coming in from Cass, walking down to that bot lane, making sure that they don't lose 2 towers for this.
yeah, very good fight by Valpo though, and I mean so much damage coming out of Dreadful there to kind of help turn that one. But like you said, the Diana did get so much progress in that
We
bot
have to
lane.
be careful here. They might have overstayed their welcome as Hecarim comes back in. And there's the hit. Diana walking down on Jakimbo as well. Jakimbo trying to E away, and it will get the kite out and kill. And it looks like
Jakimbo!
Valpo will try and turn this fight as well. Getting the boost up. Hecarim comes in from the backside as well, trying to dive on Dreadful. The Q coming out on Steamroller, but it's not going to be enough as Steamroller goes down. A triple kill going to Hecarim on this top side.
Man,
Valpo being able to pick up 2, just trying to even it out, but a lot going to that Hecarim there. Really, really dangerous now at this point, trying to, really going to be able to run around that map. Just might have, walking with that Rift Herald, kind of just have to accept that it's going to be gone at a point, right? You just have to let it go. But it looks like Emma Chikimbo will get this bot tower here if he stays on it for a little bit. Being low health, but it looks like nobody on map as Hecarim is invading that top side.
yeah, I mean, this has just been so chaotic the past few minutes. We've seen now 23 kills come in this game. And, every time you think one team is, gonna run away with it, all of a sudden the other team, pulls something back. We saw
Yep.
that wonderful solo kill from Jakimbo in the bot lane on the Diana. And then, the Hecarim there for Tiffin Julian being so impactful, with his ultimates.
Definitely. I mean, we're seeing now it's only a 2K gold lead, right? This is still anyone's game because I feel like both sides have gotten gold to who they need to get gold to, right? We've had Jinx scale, we've
Yeah.
had Cass scale, even Cho'Gath's getting a little bit in on it. But and then on Tiffin's side, you have the Hecarim, the Diana, right? You have the
Mhm.
2 scalers getting that money, getting that power. So now it is anyone's game coming into this third dragon.
I was gonna say, you see Dreadful there, pinging that dragon. This is definitely one that Valpo does not want to give up.
Yep. I mean, they can't give this up, quite frankly, but we have to be careful here. You notice the Nautilus, you might see Q over the wall here, but you just can't let Nautilus catch you out. Because this fight will be over for Valpo if, like Tiffin has been doing, just if Tiffin takes the upper advantage, right? If they take the upper hand by queuing early, right? Having Nautilus R in, right? A secured engage, having an R airborne is so huge for Nautilus that, there's not really a counter to it, right? Because airborne is not something you can cleanse, right?
Yeah.
So there's not too much of a counter to that entry, but you have to be able to take the fight on your own terms so Nautilus doesn't get that kind of sneak peek on you. And as we're fighting this top lane here, you see bot lane setting up for this dragon. Just a couple of pings going out, looking to maybe jet the pull, and there's the pull we were talking about. The cleanse coming from Melio as well, trying to get out. Hecarim jumps in, but is going to get CC to Oblivion with the R, and there's a huge dash in. Jinx is now scaling with that passive. A lot of shots in this top lane as well. Looks like try to take this Hex Gate maybe to get out. There's the shot as well, and that will clear up this dragon, and Valpo is clear. That is the fight they needed. I mean, huge from Steamroller being able to pop that W, make sure that Nautilus Q doesn't go in. Hacker, maybe just a little bit of a miscommunication, because he was able to go in, but right as he got in, Valpo was just waiting with that CC. Vector has to be careful here, doesn't get solo killed by Diana, but it is the smart call going for Baron. Baron is much more useful right now because not only can you take this, but you can scale that into other objectives. So if they take this and get priority on Dragon, it's careful. But Diana does have such a possibility to just immediately solo kill here. And you will see a rotation over from Valpo. They have to take this drag quick because now Tiffin has a back under their belt, although they don't have ultimates from Nautilus. You
Yeah.
do have the Hecarim ult, and you have to be careful you don't lose your Baron here. There's the smite as well. There's the R coming from Diana in the backline. Garen picks up the kill on Cho'Gath. There's a lot of fighting going on. Vector in this backside. Vector picking up that kill. The flash going out, but also killing Kaisa. Now here comes Jinx. Jinx getting scaled, being able to run down. And they will take this trade, a 2-for-2, right? But still keeping Baron on their Jinx, on their Cass. Right, which is
Yeah.
really huge getting this back, and this is going to be a huge back for Valpo,
I mean,
especially for Jinx. There's the IE.
a
There's
two
the
a two
Infinity
for
Edge.
two, but Valpo
Uh,
also getting the Drake, so
yep,
definitely winning that fight there. And I mean, like I was gonna say, these teams are not giving us a chance to breathe.
yeah,
Straight from Baron into Dragon, Valpo constantly fighting, but able to pick up both those objectives, and now 9 kills onto Dreadful. I mean, things are swinging in their favor.
Yep. I mean, we saw right there. That's kind of what you needed, though. That's the reason why you call for Baron. It's the reason why you take Baron first in those kind of fights is because without Baron there, I genuinely believe Tiffin aces. But you
Yeah.
have that extra power, you have that extra tankiness. Your waves are now clearing faster, right? So you're able to push that in mid. It's harder for them to rotate back to that dragon, and overall you just have more power. So even though Tiffin got it back, now you have a strength
Oh,
to at least contest there.
and that
And I mean,
damage.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you picked up IE and part to LDR, right? You picked up component to LDR. You see the Hecarim on this side here. There's the R coming out from the Nautilus as well. The R coming from Julian, but Julian getting knocked under the tower. Dreadful being able to pick up that kill, kiting around, and there's a double kill as well. Garen is back in, but you have to be careful. Dreadful has that armor piercing now, be able to get that shot, and there's the triple kill, being able to run down.
Dreadful!
There's the R finishing off, but not being able to hit the Kaisa, and they will take this mid lane tower for it. I mean, Dreadful is just showing out this game on this Jinx. They gave him the money, they gave him the gold that he needed this early game, and this is clutch for him now because you see his tower taking potential with his team is huge. They might be able to run this down, immediately get that mid lane tower, and honestly, I would stop at that. Take the top, take the mid lane, take the inhibitor, and then take your time backing. Get your gold back. You still have Baron, push out a couple of other waves, and you have a chance, unless they get a pick here. If they get a pick here, it changes that, but if not, yep,
Yeah.
just got to bat.
Regardless, Valpo able to push so far into that mid lane. And I mean, like you said, it's just been all dreadful here. 12, 2, and 4, a 700 gold bounty on the man.
Yep,
And he is, I think that's his second triple kill in this game.
yep,
So,
it is. No, I mean, we're seeing right now that not only is Dreadful playing his spacing really well and being able to kite really well on Jinx, right? But you have to give credit to Melio and Vector as well. Melio, Vector, and Cass, because you understand what changed from the first fight to now here is that they are saving their abilities till Hecarim comes.
yeah,
I feel bad for this Hecarim because this is frustrating for him. He jumps in, right? Because he's someone that has to all in to use his abilities, right? You have to put yourself in the other side. Right as he ults, right as he Rs, you have the Milio R coming out to cleanse everyone, right? So that the Hecarim R doesn't disrupt anymore. And then you have the Vector immediately Ring and queuing back into tower, right? Like, you have so much punish for him coming in like that. But you do have to be careful. Your Cho'Gath might get collapsed on the 4-man here. A couple of pings coming out. Here comes the Ghost from Hecarim as well, waiting on that Cho'Gath knockup. Being able to dash in here. A couple of Qs. He's actually being able to walk back. He does not have turret. I think, honestly, they just give this here and allow Valpo to try and take this bot side tower. They will get a trade for it. Everybody backing. I mean, noticing that they got the Cho'Gath shutdown, but they're going to give this bot lane tower. Right? This is not a trade I really think that was worth it because you immediately have to back while you do have pressure now. That was a lot more gold going to Valpo's team than any assist would, but they have to be careful here. Valpo taking a really risky decision to try and back like really close up, maybe trying to force a fight knowing that Garen isn't there. And honestly, I trust their fight too. I think if they want to take a 4v4, I think this is their best shot to. You do have Jinx on full LDR now. Which means that not only can she just melt people, right, but she can match that Garen.
yeah.
Uh,
And this whole time, we did see that Garen pushing in this top wave. He's going to pick up that tower.
yep.
Um,
And we do see a couple of shots here, but Emma Chikimbo, you just see how tanky he is now. Getting a couple of early shots
and
and the slow coming from the Rylai's as well. I don't think Garen's going to be able to run away from this. Another E, and that should be it. There's Emma Chikimbo picking up that kill, so Garen dying for that tower, which, I mean, honestly, at this point in the game, I don't think is the worst idea. You do see an engage here as well. Vector coming from the left side, but Hecarim's on the backside. You have to try and get some peel. The flash over the wall, the R going, and Hecarim does shut down. Vector getting a pick. I mean, smart idea right there. Vector maybe looking for something to eat here, but not having the R up, which is really dangerous. Now having to walk, and this is just a bad fight for Valpo. They're going to have to leave here.
I mean, that's exactly what Tiffin needed. I mean, they recognized how strong Dreadful was, and, they were able to catch him out right before this dragon spawns, and, I mean, everything going their way. But you do see Vector picking that Baron, and it looks like Dreadful might be up for that if uh, they want to try and fight Tiffin here for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about what was working for our last fight, right? Which is where we had a lot of peel for Dreadful when we had to make, when they made the move, right? We had a lot of peel for Dreadful. That fight, we had Vector kind of walk up, right? We had him try and get that early pick, but because of that, he just left Hecarim to run around on that bot side. And I mean, right, yeah, I might have jinxed it because right as I talk about it, I was doing it well, we mess it up. But otherwise, I hope that Valpo does, take that fight into account and realize, hey, okay, we can't leave Dreadful alone anymore.
Yeah, but now Dreadful is back in the game, and this Baron is up, so we might see a fight here. Neither team quite ready to start this one up, and it looks like Tiffin's going to be backing, so
No,
Valpo
definitely.
actually going to start this one up, and I don't know. Oh, they
Um,
do have the Hex Gate, so they should be here in
yeah,
time to maybe contest this
especially
one.
with Hecarim, but you have to have Jinx there. Jinx is just key to taking that Baron, but it looks like just a little bit of pressure. Might be looking for a 5v5 here, and honestly, this is anyone's fight. Valpo needs the peel for Dreadful, though. If Hecarim decides to go in, there's the Q in as well. Here comes the R from Hecarim, maybe. There's a huge ult from Diana, being able to pull in everyone. Kaisa getting a kill on the bot side. Garen picking up a double kill as well on the Jinx and Vector, but here comes Cassio running in. Cho'Gath picking up 2, but that will be an ace for Tiffin. I mean, that was a really good engage from Tiffin. That was kind of that choke point damage that I was talking about. You had Diana dash in after the Nautilus, hit a huge 4-man. You had the Hecarim layered on as well. It's one of those where Emilio has to decide, do I ult the Diana or do I ult the Hecarim? And once you have to decide that, it's over, right? So
Yeah.
now having that, they are only going to get Baron on 3 of their people as they are trying to hold off on taking it. But they will take it now. Baron on Kaisa, Diana, and the Garen.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it pregame, and here it is, manifesting itself, that focus on the Diana, and I mean, she was critical in that fight. You saw, Tiffin just swarming over everyone. Zaxter picking Hakromar, Diana R, and I mean, that's what you need if you're Tiffin, so.
Yep. I mean, Dreadful is really strong right now, but when you have a combo like that, hitting in such a strong, hitting such a strong choke point like they did, uh, it's just, knowing when to fight, right? And knowing kind of the angle that you have to take, but you still have to consider how strong Valpo is, right? Because you have a couple of items up. Kaisa is getting there though, because now Kaisa has that Navori's finished, has that Phantom Dancers, right? Going on that 3 item, it's getting really, really tough for Valpo to try and keep this lead up because now it is 3 gold in Tiffin's favor.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like Tiffin is just so coordinated and so together. You saw in that last fight, they were just able to swarm down Valpo so quickly. It looked like, all 5 members just engaging at once. And like, what can you do about that? It's just an overwhelm and overpower.
Yep. I mean, you kind of have to play that game where you see Nautilus hook in now, and you saw what Tiffin did last fight, right? Is you saw the Nautilus hook in, Valpo immediately tried to, counteract that, walk up with that, and then Diana came in, right? So you kind of have to wait for Nautilus, if Nautilus hits that hook, you kind of have to wait for them to commit to something. You have to play reactionary again, because that's a lot of your ultimates. It's a lot of your game is reactionary on this one.
100%. And then we do see the Soul coming up here. This is not, this is the game pretty much here.
Yep.
If you give up Soul to Tiffin, that's kind of the nail in the coffin. So
Yep.
I think
Yep.
this is setting up to be Valpo's last stand.
Yep. And looking here, trying to see what angle they should take, and I don't think grouping up like this is going to be the best idea. There's the vision as well, all seen, and now they're stuck in an awkward spot. See, like you can't be here right now. You have to walk back because you're going to see Nautilus and Hecarim, not only are they taking this mid wave while Dragon spawns, but they're going to have a flank. And then Diana's going to come out of nowhere. It's going to be really hard for Valpo. And you're seeing now, it's getting awkward. right? It's getting hard for them to actually move. You have the TP back, and the TP will go off by Cho'Gath, but the R coming off as well. And I mean, Tiffin was like, "Hey, you want to take Dragon? We're just gonna go end, and we're just gonna
Yeah.
end game."
Uh,
There's the hook in from Nautilus as well, getting hit up. There's the TP coming in from Cassio. The rest of Valpo trying to just get back, but not going to be enough as the R coming in. Zaxter taking a lot of damage. The Diana R coming out as well. Jaxter Zaxter going down, Cassio going down. That is going to be GG. I mean, overall, just Valpo not really thinking, right? We talked
mhm.
about how it was awkward playing that, that little chokehold. And you saw just how disoriented they were in that last one, right? They didn't know what to do because Tiffin was like, okay, you guys are all going to sit in this choke point. Two of you have TP. And nobody reacted to anyone in mid. They had vision on where everybody else was. They knew that Tiffin was in mid, and nobody reacted. So Tiffin was like, "Hey, cool. Like we're just gonna take mid."
Yeah, I mean the classic, drag for Nexus trade. Not the one you want to do if you're Valpo there, but really good by Tiffin to recognize that opening, leave Garen behind to make sure they couldn't back, and that's game one going to
Yep.
Tiffin in this series.
I mean, there's a reason they're number one right now in the division. It's because of plays like that, right? Where it's just like, you know what? This would be really funny if it worked,
Uh
right?
huh.
It would be really funny if we just walked the Nexus.
Yep.
But I mean, they're just making calls like that. They're making split-second decisions that other teams aren't making. There's a reason why they're winning this, and I'm excited to see how Valpo comes back in this game too. So we will catch you guys after a short little break when we start up for Game 2 of NECC Week 9. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 2 of NECC Week 9 against Tiffin. Tiffin going 1-0 in the series right now, right? A lot of calls, a lot of like split decisions that really
Mhm.
led to that game, especially with the kind of anticlimactic end
Yeah.
that happened. But I mean, as we go into this draft here, it shouldn't really see much new on the Tiffin side, otherwise than knowing that you do have that Malphite.
Mhm.
Um, is Anaya back for this game?
We can check the lobby here real quick. It looks
Does
like it's
not
still
look
gonna
like
be
it.
Zaxter in the top lane.
Yep,
So
but it looks like they changed up to a Malphite ban. Not really being worried about the Ace hole, I guess. Uh, but otherwise should really just keep the same bans. Stopping at Melio.
yeah.
Okay. I like that. I was gonna say last game, I feel like the Melio had a really, really strong impact, right? Especially with that cleanse that he has, with just the overall extra damage. I think that is a good ban from Tiffin. Valpo keeping the same bans
Yep.
though.
Same exact three here. They know what's strongest on the side of Tiffin and what they don't want to play against. But with Emilio banned, I am interested to see what Valpo goes with because honestly, you could have run that back. I mean, there were a lot of opportunities for Valpo to win that game, and I think you were totally fine with the Jinx Melia. So, gonna be
Hmm.
interesting to see how they adapt to that ban.
Definitely. I mean, Tiffin taking that first pick, Kaisa. Kaisa not really showing out until that very late game where she really started to become an issue for Valpo with that repositioning. Um, I mean, a strong early fighter. So we're gonna see who Valpo wants to pick up into them. There's the Caitlyn. Okay. Playing a little bit safer, right? Just trying to get more range. Um, the Caitlyn pick I know Dreadful's been talking about recently about picking up. But I'm wondering who Valpo's gonna pair as a support here.
Yeah, I mean, we see Valpo ticking the timer all the way down on the Caitlyn pick, likely all the way down here. So I think the Milio ban might have thrown him off a little bit. We are gonna see what comes in,
The
and we might
and
have to check the chat.
there's a
Okay.
Sejuani. Okay. Um, we do see. We know that Sej is really strong. I like Vector's Sedge because Sedge is kind of like unkillable at level 4, right? We've talked about this in other streams, but she really just you can't kill her. And Tiffin going with Rakan, going with more of well, still a little bit of engage, right?
hmm
Going more shielding for like teammates and such.
And I
Kind of
mean,
less of a front line.
yeah, I'm surprised you're switching this pick up because we were lauding the Nautilus last game for not missing a single hook. I think he was a huge part of why they won that game. But this
Hmm.
could be an adaptation after seeing Valpo pick the Caitlyn. They
Yeah.
prefer their Khan against that in the bot lane.
That's really what I think it is because Caitlyn is really hard to play against as a Nautilus, right? Because Caitlyn traps do stop Nautilus Q, right? You have a lot of getaway, you have a lot of range to punish whenever like Nautilus Q doesn't work correctly, right? Or something goes wrong. You're a very punish heavy champ. So not only do you just lane bully people out, but you have a lot of counteractive. Tiffin picking up the Hecarim, kind of expected. Uh, Not really much different, at least with that pick.
And we might see Steamroller break out the Nautilus
The Nautilus,
of
yep.
his own, and there it is.
Nice.
So a little bit of can he upstage the Nautilus from Tiffin there? Can
I
he perform better here?
I do really like this pick because you have Rakan who usually is pretty safe when it comes to his engages because you E in, right? You E to your teammate, you W dash in, and then you E back, right? But now with
hmm
Nautilus you have a root, you have a lot of stopping in that movement. That's kind of what Rakan's a very flash heavy, or not flash heavy, but a flash engage heavy
Yeah,
champ, right? Not so much
snap
relying on
engage,
a
right?
snap engage. That's the
Yes.
word. But he likes to be really snappy with it. So Nautilus being able to lock you down for a little bit makes Rakan very squishy.
As we see Valpo banning out the Ornn, same once again. I can't recall their fifth one, but maybe I'll recognize it and
Yeah,
see if we're exactly the same. No, we're
banning
not
with that
exactly the
banning with
same.
that Diana instead of the
So
Yasuo. Yep.
yes.
I mean Tiffin banning the Cass. Knowing that Valpo now doesn't have Cass on the board, gotta ban that Diana. Make sure that Diana does not have so they don't have that ultimate layering anymore.
Yeah, and also going to ban out the Anivia. So once again, second phase being dedicated to Jakimbo. Um, but yeah, I'm honestly surprised that Valpo did stick with the Jarvan ban. I think you could have switched that out for the Hecarim since he was so impactful, but they might
Mhm.
just be more scared of that Jarvan and think that's kind of a worse.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the case here is that Jarvan is just like too strong right now. Jarvan is definitely probably the best jungler in the game.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty confident in saying that as well. So being able to ban that Jarvan out, you're just gonna have to deal with the Hecarim. There's ways, obviously, they saw last game to punish him and slow him down, but Valpo just has to be more consistent with that. Valpo also still having Zaxxon in the top lane, picking up the Gnar as a blind pick, which we haven't seen much Gnar this season. Gnar's kind of in a weird spot to where not really good, not really bad, but really high picked in pro play, so he's not really going to receive any buffs, right?
yeah.
But
I mean,
then,
I feel like he's kind of, always considered, right, a safe blind pick, that
yep,
kind of just slow and steady staple and, that Zaxter's gonna once again, be able to do okay, try to go even, and just survive.
Definitely. I mean, that's kind of what you pick Nar for, right? Is he has a lot of kit to himself. But Tiffin, I mean, if you want to pick Nar, gonna go Kasante. Kasante insanely strong, not only just into Nar, but just insanely strong in general. So I think we're gonna see Kasante kind of run over a lot of this top side here, unless Zaxter, is ready, is planned for this already. Tiffin picking up the Victor as well. Kind of the one thing that they were lacking in this comp is scaling. I feel like, because Casante is just kind of good overall, right? He does scale pretty hard. Hecarim, Hyper, Rakan, and Kaisa kind of play that like early fight, but obviously looking for Kaisa evolutions. But now you need someone to be able to carry, right?
Yeah.
Carry through that damage, kind of that mid game to late game. You pick up that Victor, but you know, not gonna ban the ASOL. We've seen Jakimbo's ASOL really strong right now, and I really like Valpo's comp.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Hazel pickup here to close out the draft is, that's what I'm excited to see. We know how big MF Jacimbo is for Valpo and how good he is on this champion. So, uh, I think that's going to be the key here. You look across the board, and I mean, it's him and Dreadful that are going to be outputting the damage. The
Yep.
Nautilus, the Sejuani, the Gnar, not going to do a ton in the damage department. So it's really on these two premier carries here for Valpo to come out and kind of win this game. And,
I,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I think that's the one dangerous part about Valpo is that you're putting a lot of pressure on Caitlyn and Asol, right?
Hmm.
And Asol doesn't really do much until like two items, right?
Yeah.
Like granted, he's annoying to deal with, but he doesn't fight. He's not the Asol you think of when he's just spawning into the game. So you're tanking a lot of your damage on Caitlyn,
Yeah.
especially for that early. You have a lot of damage on Caitlyn. You need to kind of scale that out. Well, I think Tiffin has a little bit of the advantage kind of in that early to mid game. But I mean, once Asol scales, Asol takes over. Right, no matter who you put him against, he has percent damage, he has slow, he has burn, he has an execute.
Hmm.
And then he has almost like semi-global damage. So
Yeah. And I mean, like I was saying in game one, I think that, you know, I think it is okay to kind of, trust Dreadful to have that kind of weight of doing all the damage because he did show it in game one.
yeah,
He performed and,
yeah,
I think Valpo really could have won that game. It was kind of that one moment where he got caught out alone by Hecarim, and that set up, this whole kind of spiral snowball of, Tiffin picking up Dragon, and then once again, Dreadful trying to rush back for Baron, Valpo being uncoordinated for that one, and I mean, it just kind of all felt like dominoes from Valpo after that pick on Dreadful.
yeah. I mean that's the one danger of like, putting all your eggs in that basket. Well,
Hmm.
there's nothing against Dreadful, right? I'm not saying that he can't carry the game like this, but you put a lot of pressure on an ADC that, I mean, the joke is that ADCs die instantly in this game, right? That's the funny part of this game is that, you know, ADC experience is you walk into a bush and then you get one shot, right?
Hmm.
So putting all your eggs kind of in that ADC basket, right? Happy Easter, everyone. It's just
Yes.
really tough for him to kind of position himself. So
Hmm.
puts a lot more pressure, and you kind of need to wait for Asol. So I think the danger is that if Valpo doesn't play for that peel, it's gonna be really really tough. It's gonna seem like they're almost doing no damage.
Yeah. But the good thing about you said ASIL kind of you got to wait for those two items to kind of come online. But if things fall from last game, Jakimbo was the best at CSing in the
Yep.
game. I mean, he was picking up those items very early. So
And I mean, quite frankly, it's gonna be much easier with Asol.
yeah.
So
So I mean I think this sets up, pretty well for Valpo to kind of fix those little mistakes in game one and hopefully be able to take game three here. I'll give you another quick look at the draft in case the viewers were forgetting how this one came out, but we're seeing the teams take a little bit of break here before game two between the draft and the game. So we might take one too. Any
yep.
final thoughts before we cut to one here?
Not much. I mean, honestly, we're just gonna cut back and we're gonna take a look at summoner spells, take a look at runes, and we'll be done with we'll be done with spectator delay. We'll be able to get right back into the game.
All right. Well, we will see you guys in about 3-4 minutes here.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. After a spectator delay, we're going to be hopping into Game 2 of NECC Week 9, Valpo versus Tiffin, League of Legends. Tiffin finishing with Game 1,
Hmm.
looking pretty strong. We talked about those snap engagements. We talked about kind of how this new draft is changing up uh, kind of their comps just all around. Uh, Now Valpo hinging a lot more on their mid and their bot than, before. Now, Tiflin kind of keeping the same dynamic, but instead of having more of a team fight oriented, Victor still having a lot of choke damage, but not so much CC, not so much layering. So going into this game, we're gonna have to see kind of how Tiflin changes up their fights. Now they can't really just, Diana into Nautilus into the Hecarim, but
Yes.
just have to think a little bit more, and we will see a 5-mid walk here from Valpo.
Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing for Valpo is getting rid of that Diana that was very problematic last game. Won a lot of key fights for Tiffin, but definitely still the Hecarim, that threat there, and introducing the Rakan and the Cassante, both able to be impactful in this game, and kind of like you said, change that dynamic and give them a different style here.
Yeah, I mean, the only like rune change I would say is a little bit different is Evan Kimbo is running the Comet on ASO, which usually we see the first strike just for that gold generation, but I mean, Comet does offer a ton of damage for ASO, just with how consistent his abilities are. So,
Yeah, certainly not a mispick like we've seen before. Definitely,
yeah.
definitely, still a good.
We're
A,
seeing almost deja vu here as well. We have Valpo hiding in the bot lane bush now, walking out, and there's the Q as well. There's the hit, but the W from Rakan hits first. There's the hook from Nautilus as well. Nautilus taking a lot of damage. Caitlyn getting a couple
oh,
of shots off. The lethal proccing on this Caitlyn now. They have to be careful. Caitlyn can win that fight, but Nautilus going really low here, and that trade will go in Tiflin's favor.
yeah, a lot of damage on both sides. I mean, it really is deja vu because last time it was Tiffin hiding in Valpo that kind of won the engagement. So
Yep.
flipped roles here in the very early game.
Maybe it's just not that good of an idea.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
Maybe we should take a hint here. And there's a Q there from Steamroller, but it does miss just by an inch.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe maybe we don't hide in the bush to open the game. That could be the strategy for sure.
Yep. We're seeing right here, just Nautilus walk up and zone off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean I think it's gonna be a big focus point as we see Zaxter take a little bit of damage here. It is that mid lane, Jakimbo on the Aesol versus Blue Light here on the Victor. What is this matchup like, and what are you looking for as we see Jakimbo already picking off a little bit of damage?
Yep. And there's the Gnar evolve as well, being able to jump in, knock up. But I mean, Cassante just does so much damage right now with that percent health. Just a lot of chip going out. There's the Q as well, getting another shot in. Is actually taking a lot of damage. Has to be careful here.
Yeah, I mean Cassante is very, very tanky. Um, Definitely going to provide that role for
Oh,
Valpo.
yeah, here comes Hecarim early with the gank. Steamroller trying to Q around, does get the Q even through the Hecarim E. The W hitting from Kaisa, forcing the flash out of Nautilus. Zexter has to be really careful here, getting the bounce off
Getting
and
some
taking a
good
couple shots,
damage.
but it looks like might be able to turn this here. Maybe looking for one more auto. Does miss that, does miss the boomerang.
Yeah, but Valpo's bot lane now on the back foot, kind of in a tough
Yep.
spot
And
here.
there's a knockup as well, and there's the Q under that tower. Might be able to pull something out of this. Hecarim looking to E under, but there's the flash from Dreadful over, and Vector comes to turn it, and first blood going to Caitlyn. Really expertly played by Dreadful, being able to flash over the Hecarim E, have Vector dash over that wall as well. Vector's flash coming out, just being able to E into the flash, get that knockup. Caitlyn getting that last shot in first blood, and the turn going over to Valpo, putting Tiflin behind just a little bit in this early.
Oh, and Steamroller looking for another big hook there, not quite able to get it. But yeah, you're right. I am surprised that, Valpo was able to turn that. It was not looking good for a moment, but Vector there just in time to save things.
Yep. I mean, this this top lane is really, really scrappy right now. You do have the evolution coming up right now for Zaxter. Maybe looking to just slam down a little bit here. There's the E.
Yeah, gotta be
There's the knock
careful.
and double stun. Yeah, you have to be really, really careful here. But I feel like with a little bit of extra range that Zaxter has evolved, this is a little bit of a better trade for him. Walking up here, you do see Hecarim invading, and now Vector is going to be able to walk up on this Hecarim. There's the stun, the E. And we're seeing right now just the tankiness that Vector has, especially with that Aftershock. There goes the E trying to just get away here. Zaxter does rotate, and there's the MF Jakimbo as well. Vector just taking a couple of other shots, the dash up, the knock up. Missing the W here, just trying to walk, maybe get a couple of more shots to try and pop that E. The W coming from, the W coming also stopping them there. Vector getting turned on and just overstaying their welcome as Zaxter jumps over the wall.
And really unfortunate that they were not able to secure the kill onto the Hecarim there. You know, like you said, Vector with the invade and being so tanky, you thought he might have been able to win the engagement, but everyone rotating down to kind of see who was going to win that one, and it ends up being Tiffin on
Yep.
a little bit of a 3v3 there.
I mean, I stumbled over my words a little bit there, but that was a good W by Victor. Being able to stop that kind of angle to where now Vector can't walk through. He has to wait to walk through. And honestly, after that, you probably should just stop fighting. You just can't go in anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just too strong. You know, Asol's already burned W. Not really much movement on your side. Now you just kind of have to give it away, but Valpo just stayed way too long.
Yeah, I mean that is such a big thing that, you know, we see so many times is those overextensions being punished. I mean, positioning really is everything here in League of Legends.
Oh, definitely. I mean, on this bot side, though, it was looking a little bit rough, but that was just a huge wave crash for Valpo being able to even out the CS lead here.
Yep. As we look at the CS, I mean, once
This
again,
is a really weird... There's the R coming from the Cassante in the top as well. Getting a lot of shots, maybe being able to hit this. The R coming, the stun under the tower will pick up the kill for Jakimbo, but the W reset does not come fast enough as the Victor R gets out. Vector coming in, try and get something, but Hecarim is rotating up as well. This is going to be bad for Vector if he doesn't get out, and it looks like they will leave, but on this bot side as well, Dreadful picks up another kill. Vector hitting the blast cone over, but Hecarim taking the ride with him as well. Trying to run into this tower. There's the TP coming in from Asol. You have to be careful. Asol can just fly over this wall in this Hecarim if he does angle it properly, but remember, his cooldowns aren't up right now. Have to be really careful, but he is strong if they decide to take this fight. And there is Valpo's bot side trying to angle this. Nautilus gets the root down. The R coming out from Hecarim. Maybe looking for another auto, but it won't be enough as the kill does go to Steamroller.
I mean, help me break down what just happened. I mean, these two
Yeah.
teams certainly love to fight. I mean, trade after trade here, and I think that this ended up good for Valpo here.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about staying too long, right? And that was definitely one of those moments. Just getting a little bit scrappy in this top lane. There's the immediate Q as well. A knock up from the Rakan. Steamroller just kind of walking away here. There's Vector, but the R coming in from Kaisa being able to rotate. There's the flash over the wall. Has to be careful. The W over the wall might be issue for Steamroller.
You
Looks
know,
like they won't.
I'm not a League of Legends player, but did Steamroller just try to engage on a 2v1 as Nautilus there?
I think he was expecting a little bit more from his team. I mean, I talked about his mantra already, right? With playing Nautilus, you have to expect to die. You have to expect to die a lot.
But you can't want to die, you know?
Yeah, true. But I mean, you don't make plays without it, right? So I think that was one of those where expecting Nolan to rotate a little bit faster, but not really being on the same wavelength. Also,
Still,
Caitlyn just not being there. It looks like you have a little bit of a rotation here to Dragon. Caitlyn has to be careful, though. If they decide to turn back on her, it's going to be really tough for her to fight this. But there goes the E in as well from Vector. Not going to be able to get much, or excuse me, the Q in. And there's the Q from Nautilus as well. Victor is now rotated, but Evan Jakimbo hits a huge R and a dash. He looks like he's probably going to W reset over this wall here. And a couple of shots, but there's the R coming from this top lane as well. Zaxter's just in a bad spot as the fight does finish out in this bot side. While losing one in the top side, Valpo will take this dragon.
Yeah, I mean Tiffin picking up the kill onto Zaxter, but the more important one was Valpo, getting the pick onto Julian. You don't have your jungler, you don't have your smite, and you can't contest that dragon. So
Yep.
Valpo,
And there's
you,
the knockup as well going on Caitlyn. Caitlyn does have flash to get away here. The W hitting, doing a lot of damage.
yeah, but overall, once again, just slightly in favor of Valpo, but so much action, coming down, so many kills and engagements here. These two teams are nonstop, aren't they?
Yep. I mean, a lot of fights, a lot of action. This is definitely one of the more interesting games you can watch. Got to give them credit at least. It is fun to be in this booth right now. Talking about it, we do have, a little bit of fight over vision. Both of them just autoing wards as they walk up. But here comes Steamroller. There goes the W from the Rakan. But the weird autos, so I was talking about early game. There's the R coming in as well. The R from Kaisa being able to save him a little bit. There's the E coming out, but it's not going to be enough. A lot of damage going out, but that gank does fail for Valpo's side.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, great hook there by Steamroller. I mean, this has been the series of the Nautilus. I mean, we've had like a hook per minute here throughout
yeah,
this series so far.
yeah, we need a new stat to like put up as a graphic, but
Uh-huh.
this is getting bad.
But Valpo, unable to convert those kills, but, still an advantage here. We're seeing the wave crash in and the members being low here for Tiffin, so.
Yep. I mean, have you ever noticed that like Caitlyn's trap is just like a cupcake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my dumbass would fall for that. Like, I would walk into that trap, honestly.
I mean,
I
who
don't know.
doesn't love a cupcake,
Yeah. It's not even that. It's just like bright and shiny. I would just walk into it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm noticing that now as I watch the animation. But as I'm killing time here, we do have a fight over at Rift Herald. There comes the W, the R, the empowered R coming from Acel, and there's the reset as well. The Hecarim and Victor going down. The R going on Dreadful, or the R going on Jakimbo, but he's just gonna go back over the wall. I have to be careful here. Rift Herald doesn't kill Vector. Um, and we're seeing this Cassante kind of the reason, or not so much the reason, but like a good idea why picking this in the Acel's forcing him out of fights, right? But sometimes they just come too late. If Acel gets the reset, he's just gonna fly back away after UW. So
I mean, yeah. That is just classic Jakimbo. I mean, you see right here, this is exactly why Tiffin banned it away in game one, and Jakimbo from the skies, like you said, that empowered R, and able to pick up a pretty significant lead here for Valpo.
yep, I mean definitely not only just the lead in that Rift Herald top side, but now you have this bot side tower going down to one plate at 12 minutes, almost taking all like a maximum gold from it, trying to get that first tower proc, and Acel being 3-1 and 2, right? Going
Mhm.
the Leanders, going that damage, right? Not even building that Rod of Ages, going just that pure damage that we've seen just be really strong. I'm excited to see kind of how he takes over this game. And hey, we talked about you need your mid laner and you need your ADC to be doing the damage here. That's definitely what you're getting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, definitely some concerns about where the damage was coming from pregame here, but I mean, they're proving us wrong. They're performing here already early on in game number 2 here.
Definitely. I mean, you already have item on both your ADC and your mid laner. Um, it's really tough to take these fights now, especially holding on to Rift Herald for Vector. A lot of damage can come out right now, and they might just try and go for this tower right now. There's the shot. I mean, that one headshot is gonna chip off a lot of health there.
Yeah, I mean, similar story to game 1. Once again, Dreadful kind of getting ahead, having this high damage output. I mean,
Yep, and there's the R as well. The W coming out. There's the R from the Nautilus. The R coming in from Hecarim coming in as well. Jericho does go down with the Ignite. There's the shutdown going to Hecarim. And that will clear up a little bit for this dragon here. Nautilus walking up, just trying to get a little bit of a root, knowing that Acel is behind him. And there's the R coming out in this top lane as well. Big fight going off. Trying to dash away. Both flashes coming out. You have to be careful. He does get a dash and another Q. He might be in range to just get this knocked back into him, but he will just get out in time. Not too much damage there. Caitlyn is back up right now. This dragon coming in 10 seconds. Caitlyn will probably be back in this fight as long as Steamroller doesn't engage right now. You have to be careful. Way to dodge that W. Just out of range, and we're seeing this Rift Herald drop to mid, try to create a little bit of pressure before this dragon. And
Yeah.
there's the shot, and now you're free. I mean, here comes Hecarim. Hecarim coming with Rakan, the W coming back as well from Aesol. Not going to be much, but a lot of damage, and now, honestly, you could take this fight. There's the R coming out from Caitlyn, just trying to finish the damage. The R coming out as well from Aesol. Huge pull from Nautilus, but the
It's a
stun in
hook.
the backside as well from Victor, almost stopping Aesol from securing that kill. A
I,
huge W placement.
Yeah, I mean, this is set up really well for Valpo, getting the pick onto the ADC for Tiffin here. Multiple members low. They should be able to take this dragon if they want to, but, you know, Tiffin healing up a little bit. And this could be another big fight, another big contest, and Vector might be caught out a
Vector
little
has to be
bit.
really careful here. There's a huge E over the wall, but does get airborne by the E from Hecarim. And then Hecarim immediately trying to turn this into another one, getting the smite down on Dreadful. A lot of damage. There's the flash and the Q. The E just missing, going under. The double kill. Jakimbo trying to pick up that last. Will the burn be enough to take this kill, though? There's the last Q. He does get the kill. And they gonna walk up, try to get this auto off. There's the E. Jakimbo just kind of flying around trying to pick up anything that he can. Ew, really, really weird fights going on right now. Hecarim picking up a double kill there, which is huge for getting him back in this game, but just going so deep that now Jakimbo picked up, I mean, he's on 5th kill,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I think I have to describe this as the most unique series I've ever been on the mic for here. I mean,
Yeah.
some of these I'm looking at and I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on here,
Yeah.
So overall, I think Tiffin, getting a little bit back into this, but I mean, the way that one started out, I'm not sure about, the decision there from Tiffin's Hecarim to go in so far. He got down so low before the fight even really started, but then, Vector just hanging out on his lonesome and gets caught out. So, I mean, it's just a roller coaster, really, this thing has been.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely interesting to see. I think the biggest point right now that I'd say is that I think Tiffin is remembering why they banned that Aesol first round.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
I think it's not even just like, because MF Jakimbo is playing insanely well this game, right? But it's not even that, but just Aesol controls so much of the map now. You just can't fight around him. Now you're going to see he's going to go bot lane. If I'm Tiffin, they leave. You have to leave here.
Yeah. And now Valpo,
Yep, and there's the tower.
picking up the tower, picking up their second Drake. I mean, a lot of things going in their favor here. I mean, like you said, I think maybe the one strong point here for Tiffin is that Cassante maybe being able to counter Jakimbo.
Yep. I mean, Cassante will get really strong with this tower damage, but I mean, Zaxter's been hanging in there in that top lane. His Gnar is looking a lot stronger into this like matchup against Cassante than, that first like Cho'Gath and Dagaren.
Yeah.
And we're seeing right now it's holding off because now Valpo really doesn't have to pay attention to him.
Yeah.
Right? They don't need to match him in that top lane because he's getting enough damage done. Although Cassante is coming and helping in these fights, it's not doing much.
I mean, I don't want to, project out too far, but if we do somehow get to a game 3 here, are you really subbing out Zaxter for Anaya? The way he's been playing, that could be a strong point here.
And there is a huge hook from Nautilus as well. There's the R coming in the E as well. R coming in from Hecarim being able to walk up, but the empowered Aesol ult doing so much. The R coming out from Vector as well, being able to hit lockdown for Caitlyn to pick up that kill. And, I mean, Aesol picking up another one. I feel like every fight is just like, okay, there's an R, there's an ultimate, there's an ultimate, there's an ultimate. All right, everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of how these team comps are being drafted right
It's
now.
a lot of ultimate dumping.
It's
for
a
sure.
lot. It's a lot of ult fights, right?
And-
It's not so much like ability engages, but there was a great Nautilus queue. You're gonna see here. You don't want Kai'Sa taking any solo lane, so you're gonna put Aesol down there. Kai'Sa being forced to back, just not even being able to contest that.
Yeah, but I mean, Valpo really kind of coming alive here in game 2. I think this is the strongest lead we've sort of seen them have so far this series. I mean, I think they've picked up every objective in this one.
Yep.
So very, very strong early to mid game here. It's just really they need to close it out. They need to not overextend and make sure Dreadful doesn't get picked like last game.
Yeah. I mean, definitely this game right now, you do see top tower going to Gnar first. which is huge. Now you have a little bit of opening, going to take a little bit longer for those waves to get there. But I really think this game is on the back of Jakimbo. Not
Yeah.
only is just like Valpo playing really well around him right now, like this is not me saying he's doing everything this game, right? But he is definitely the like game winner, right? He
Oh
he
yeah.
is the win con right now for this team, and obviously Caitlyn will come, but pause. But you have Asol just be doing so much damage in such a little, like such little areas, such little chokeholds that it's really hard to avoid him.
Yeah, and I mean just I mean it's really the AoE on that R, right? I mean
Hmm.
you're able to get this giant empowered R, able to get that huge, like you said, in choke points. I mean, there's really not much you can do about that if you're Tiffin.
Definitely. We are seeing here now Baron is up, right? You're gonna see a little bit of a rotation, and honestly, if I'm Valpo, you have only a 3k lead here, but you still have to try and fight, right? You are so strong right now at this moment that if you do go to fight this, I'm pretty sure you win, right? Unless you get just like, zoned out, which can happen any fight, but I don't think that you lose a fight at Baron, at Next Dragon, especially when you have Asol up. But right now, Asol should focus on trying to get his upgraded ultimate, right? Trying to get the Sky's Descend, try and get empowered so that that next fight he can just do a ton of damage wide.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yes, like you said, I think, you pick up Baron here that basically wins you the game, but, you do want to play it carefully because, if you go in and you start a risky fight here to try to get Baron and, Jakimbo ends up getting picked off, all of a sudden we're back to, hey, this is an even game. You just gave Tiffin a window back in. So
Yep,
I do want to see them play, very carefully, very safe over these next, 5-ish minutes.
definitely. We're seeing right now the danger of Asol being the strongest. Um, one thing we don't really talk about his wave clear, right?
Hmm.
What investing and stacking his passive, but Tiffin just can't shove any waves in when Asol is around because he will just melt everything that comes to him. And we're seeing here a little bit of a setup for this dragon. Um, a TP coming in from Victor, now being able to start this, and we will see a 5v5 over this tower.
And it looks like
It's going to be on
Cassante might
Nautilus.
be looking for a flank
Yeah,
here for
because
Tiffin.
Sansa's probably looking to R that Asol. There's the R on the Asol. The R coming out from Hecarim as well, diving to that backline. Although here comes the turn. Emma Chikimbo picking up 2 kills, getting that reset W as well, being able to fly in. Nar picking up another kill. Caitlyn picking up the Kaisa, and all that's left is the Victor. And here comes the flash from Zaxter. He is not finishing without this Victor dead, but he might just have to be a little bit careful. Emma Chikimbo might just take that glory from him as the dive to the backline won't work. A 4-0 trade going for Valpo. And just like I said, I mean, they're so strong in fights right now. You want to take your fights now, right? You want to try and push this lead. Although, it can be a little bit of a toss-up. Around objectives is where you're strongest. So you
Yeah.
take those fights now. You take this lead. Now, I mean, you're sitting with a 6k gold lead. You doubled your gold lead since last fight. You're now on soul point as well, and you have so much control of the map.
Oh yeah. I mean, this game is 100%, in Valpo's hands. Uh, you gotta heavily favor them to win this one after the way that fight went. And I mean, this is just the MF Jakimbo game.
Yep.
If you're
This
Tiffin,
really is.
if
It's
you're
the MFG
Tiffin,
Kimbo show.
if you're Tiffin, if Jakimbo's alive, you're not gonna win the fight. I mean, you kind of have to focus literally everything on killing him, and he was able to stay alive in that
Yep.
last fight, and then Valpo kind of just cleaned up. So
Yep. I mean, we're seeing here as well. Um, it's kind of tough because the Cassante idea works, right, on paper, where you ult him back, right, he's out of the fight, now your team is able to walk in, but you have to understand, he'll just W back. And
Mhm.
now, not only are you, like, knocking him away, but you're not knocking him into a bad spot. Instead, now he's safe, right?
Yeah,
And Cassante is not too much of a threat because Aso still is pretty tanky. Now finishing the Seraphs as well. Going
yeah.
from just tier to having Seraphs, also huge power spike for him. That's like 90 AP, right? That's huge. Um, excuse me, but there's a shot as well. Hecarim walking in. There's the Q. A lot of damage coming from this Caitlyn. Here comes the Gnar. Here's the R, and that is going to finish off Dreadful getting that kill. Steamroll being able to flash over the wall, not dying yet. And it is a good trade for Valpo. Here comes Chikimbo flying through. Not going to catch much, though, and that's going to clear up their Baron.
Yeah.
Now that Hecarim's dead. Severely underestimated how much damage that Caitlyn was going to pull off there. But, I mean, Caitlyn has Kraken IE. Right, finally, there's a Caitlyn player. Thank you, Dreadful. A Caitlyn player that's not building Gale Force rapid fire cannon. You do no damage. You'll do nothing. You will tickle people the whole game. Just build Kraken, build IE, and actually do damage like we're seeing here.
And he is certainly putting it out. I mean,
Yeah.
Valpo picking up the Baron uncontested, and
I'll get off my soapbox now.
no,
Like,
you're
man,
good.
it's terrible.
But I mean, picking up Baron uncontested, and Valpo on the verge. You got to think with Baron, they're just one good fight away from wrapping up game number 2 here.
Yep, he is walking here. There's the victor. Steamer being able to pull out. They have to be careful. They go really deep here for this red buff, but not going to be able to get anything. Honestly, just take your backs, clear some waves. You're going to have to wait for objective. You have Baron up, right? And you have MF Jakimbo's, you have the Sky's Descent. You have the upgraded ult now. So, really, you're chilling. You're waiting.
Yeah, I mean, it's really on Valpo, to close this one out. We've talked about how sometimes they've struggled to close out these games, but it's a pretty comfortable lead here. We're talking almost 8k gold, so
Yeah.
it's kind of feeling like they should be able to wrap this one up, I would think. But
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they should be looking to wrap it up soon. But I think that's going to be on Soul Point. We do have another Hex Drake Soul, which is huge. Because, I mean, ability haste, giant for everybody on Valpo's team. So, going into this dragon, I think Tiffin is in a really bad spot, right? Because you're down 8k, you're on Soul Point, you lost Baron. Now, this is a complete toss-up if you even have the chance to contest this. If you don't contest it, Dragon Soul might just be game.
right. No, I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, the game state is not looking great for Tiffin, I will say that. But yeah, we're just kind of biding our time here until this soul spawns. I mean, that's going to be the key focus for both of these teams. Valpo, of course, kind of building up more advantage in lane with that Baron buff. So.
Yep. Just trying to push these waves now. Just make sure that you're really, getting that tower pressure. Because this game doesn't finish if they don't pressure anything. You do see TP is not up for Zaxter, but TP is up for Victor. So if they TP in, a 4v5 might be the best case for them to try and win this. You have to be careful though. Here comes Emma Chikimbo, the flash as well. There's the R. Everybody's forced to get away, but it's not fast enough as Emma Chikimbo picks up the recon. Dreadful picks up the other kill. Emma Chikimbo under the tower. The Zanya's as well trying to reset the damage from that tower. Maybe gonna be able to get out. Does get out just in the nick of time. Not gonna be able to take any damage there. And that will just clear up Soul Point. And honestly, we had a little bit of a free term here. We're, doing the Black Beatles challenge, but it's not going to be enough.
So Tiffin getting one, Zaxter going down, but Valpo going to be able to secure this Soul Point. MF Jakimbo up double-digit kills here, so.
I mean, we had a bit of a mannequin challenge in the top lane, but
yes.
once everybody was done being in stasis, a little bit rough for Zaxter.
Yes, but not the main top laner.
Yep,
we
gotta
might
give him some credit. He's doing what he has to this game.
Yeah, we might see someone else next
Yep.
game. So certainly an interesting point. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm just, repeating myself here.
Yeah, no offense to Zaxter, don't get it twisted, but I mean he's doing this well with this game now. Imagine Valpo's synergy with Anaya when she comes back for game 3, right?
100%.
Like this is really good for Valpo here because they got through the 2 toughest games of the series, right?
Yeah.
They got through, they made it to game 3 where they can finally have their full starting squad, and it's gonna be really good for them coming into this.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, you have the momentum of winning game 2 most likely here. Fingers
Yep.
crossed we close it out.
Yeah. We're
But
not gonna try and jinx it here or anything.
yes, if you close this one out, you do have that momentum. You're coming off the win, and you have Anaya, your main top laner, coming into the series here, finally available for game 3. So lots of things in Valpo's favor. Gonna make a
Ooh.
potential game 3 very interesting.
Jakimbo has to be careful here. It looks like they are looking for the shutdown. It is a 1,000 gold shutdown. There's the Hecarim. He's waiting for the E. Waiting for something there to pop his W. But it looks like they will have to just give up as he does go back under that tower. Yeah, he has to be really, really careful here. Now they're going to start headhunting him. Right, he's not as safe in those lanes when he's playing that 1v1 because he kind of has to assume it's going to be a 2v1.
Yep. No, 100%. But still having a tier 1 tower there to
Yeah,
keep him safe. So
yep. There's a
definitely.
couple of shots as well. There's a huge Q in from Steamroller, but I don't think he wanted to really go in there. Just kind of throwing it out there just for fun.
He does sometimes.
That's what you have to do. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how you play Nautilus. It's what you gotta do. You just gotta, sometimes you gotta just throw it and pray
Mhm.
to whatever you believe in. Just, hey, I hope my team is following me right now because I'm going in, right? And that's how you win games. It's
Baron
fun.
is up here in just 5 seconds. MF Jukimbo gonna get the back, get as strong as he can, and TP
And
in
there's
here.
The R coming out from Rakan a bit prematurely. I don't know if it was just like a misclick or if something was going on, but I mean they saw the Rakan now. Hey, let's take Baron, and they're gonna be forced off.
I mean, yeah, they just burn it down so quickly, uncontested here, and I mean, getting pretty late in this game. You just gotta
Yep.
coordinate your final push to, get this Nexus here, really.
I honestly think they just start clearing this mid wave.
Yeah.
You're gonna see Nard just try and match, but Nard does have TP up. So you're going for this mid wave here. You see Hecarim in that jungle trying to maybe catch someone out from the side. You have to be careful. Dreadful is getting a couple of shots here. There's the ult. Here comes Hecarim as well, jumping to that backline. But you see Steamroller step up to try and auto him. There's the flea. Dreadful getting shut down as well on the side. There's the R coming in from Jakimbo. Jakimbo may be able to dash in. Nard TPing in and being able to get a pick going 1-for-1. A lot of damage going out. There's a shot. Zaxter going down to Vector. But Emma Jakimbo still has all his resets, and here he comes! The quadra kill! There it is!
MF
Just
Jukimbo,
full health.
baby!
You can't leave him open like that, and that will
I
maybe
mean,
be game here. So much
Ti
AP. The only person coming back is Rakan.
Tiffin pulling out all the stops. I mean, they tried so valiantly in that fight, but you just can't
Yeah.
overcome the Aurelian Soul.
I mean,
14, 1, and 7.
Asol just took over this game. You saw right there, it looked really good for Tiffin because they blew a lot of their resources and utility on Dreadful. They blew it on their backline. Right, Vector went down, Zaxter went down, but I mean, it just was not enough. There's the R from the Rakan, but it's not going to be enough as Nexus goes down. Game going to Valpo. Now series 1-1, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
we are all tied up here.
I think honestly, biggest takeaway from that game, you gotta ban Asol.
Yeah.
You can't leave Asol open anymore. I mean, you can't give it to Chikimbo. Not only is just the champ like turbo busted,
hmm
but it's just too strong in Jikimbo's hands right now.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we look at the chart, most damage in the game, 14, 1, and 7. Phenomenal performance.
and it's
Also gotta shout out the deathless steamroller, 1, 0,
yeah,
and
which is
16.
crazy. I talk about dying a ton on Nautilus, and hey, he
Uh-huh,
was just making plays. His team was there for him. So shout out to
100%.
Nautilus. But I mean, we saw even looking at the damage charts as well on Tiffin's side. Victor was a good choice. I liked the Victor pick
Yeah.
because, and you saw it did a ton of damage in that fight. It was really strong. It was just the rest of his team just got run down by Asol. You can't really do anything against Asol. So
Yeah, I mean, still a pretty close contest, between the two teams, and, you know, a close series. We're
yep,
1-1. This sets up a very interesting game 3 with Anaya potentially coming back for a full strength Valpo.
yep.
So I think we're going to take a quick break here, but we will see you for the all important game number 3 of this series.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 3 of NECC Week 9, Valpo versus Tiffin. Right now, series is 1-1, so it's anybody's game. Newest thing this series, though, is that we do have Anaya, our returning top laner, back. Um, so having her back in the game, uh, being back to our normal starting order, is going to be huge. And I mean, Tiffin coming out, Malphite ban for Anaya, and the Acel ban. Smart. Just don't even let him play it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what you have to do if you're Tiffin. Also, the Melio again, so
Yep.
kind of a diverse band here, one on each lane, getting kind of out some of those top, tier power picks for our players. And then on the side of Alpo, first two the same, and taking a minute, but it will be all three the same
Yep.
once again here.
I mean, definitely. And Tiffin's starting off with a first pick Zaya. Maybe looking for a Zaya Rakan, but I don't know. Rakan didn't really have a good sweet spot last game. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
take
kind of, a takeaway here from Dreadful, just because, they did ban the Zaya before, so something they don't want to see him playing, now locking it up as their first pick,
yep.
so.
I mean, they have had blue side every time, right? So having blue side every game, being that one seed, opens up for drafts like this. So you kind of have that option of, okay, it's either ban or pick, right? And they decided to pick it this time. So Valpo answering back with the Caitlyn. We already saw how Caitlyn did last game, being very strong with Valpo's team comps. Um, and also just being strong into Zaya, right? Because Zaya likes to move around a lot, likes to kite a lot. And Valpo picking up Caitlyn Sejuani. I think they're holding off on the support right now because yep, there it is. They need to see if it's going to be a Rakan or if it's going to be a tankier like Nautilus or Braum,
Yeah.
right?
But I mean, for Valpo, if it's not broke, right?
Yep,
Keep
don't fix
running
it.
back. Caitlyn Sejuani, both, very good picks for these players, and a Cho'Gath
A
for
Cho'Gath
Tiffin.
as well. Jeez, okay. Um, I okay. 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 I mean,
Okay.
it came out of left field for me there, but I can kind of see it. I mean, Anaya likes to play a lot of tanks, so to have that execute on Cho'Gath, have that kind of ability to run down people, really really useful. And Cho'Gath I think the only person you want to take into this Cho'Gath is maybe Mundo or Sion. There's the Mundo.
Yeah.
You need a high HP scaler. You need somebody that scales really hard with HP, and there's the Dr. Mundo that you need. It's also your front line too.
And I mean, this is the matchup right here. I mean, this is kind of what's going to be the edge for Valpo. You get Anaya back in the top lane for game 3. You get her on one of those top picks. Mundo, this is, one that she played. I don't know. I could be wrong here, but I want to say she played it in her very first series ever with Valpo.
I
But
think so. Yep.
yeah, so we know she knows Mundo, and, we got to just see if she can execute, really.
Yep. I mean, Tiffin knows that now that they have their returning top laner back, got to start focusing a little bit of their picks, right? So, I mean, taking that top laner is going to open up jungle into, R4, I5, which means that Hecarim's going to get banned out. So now, sitting without the J4, without the Wukong, without the Hecarim, you have, the Vi, maybe the Kindred, something to come out of this, like, something to come out of the pool that really we haven't seen this series.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I think this draft has, been in Valpo's favor, going the way they want a lot. Gonna ban out the Trundle,
Yep.
another one to take away from their jungler.
I think they might be looking to try and force a Kindred pick because taking a Kindred pick into someone like Sejuani, someone like Mundo, where it's a lot harder not only to just proc your passive like assassinations, but to just invade in general. It's really hard to walk into jungle into Sejuani, right? So because of that, I mean, now Valpo knows that they have the Nautilus, knows that they have to all in, gonna R4 that Braum. Someone, one of the strongest kind of counter jungle, or not counter junglers, excuse me, but just counter fighters in general. Just being able to turn fights really fast, protect Caitlyn when needed. Um, and Tiffin going probably with the Gwen jungle. It's either Gwen or Cho'Gath jungle then. All right, that'll be interesting. I kind of like the idea. No way. You're playing with me, right? You're not gonna pick the like Gwen mid, right? Or the Cho'Gath mid, right?
I mean, this could be Cho'Gath mid. If they do
Because
lock in this Graves, right?
I,
Or
I,
could it be
okay.
or could it be Graves mid? Can't
This
Graves
is
play mid?
this is funny. Okay, so Gravesman and Graves top are a thing, but I don't think they're good right now. Really don't think Tiffin is gonna pick that right now. It's either Gwen top or Cho'Gath mid, and I think they're purposely not choosing that yet to see who Valpo chooses their mid lane. Because think about it, if Valpo chooses someone that's squishier in the mid lane, all you do is role swap. You just lane swap. You put Cho'Gath in the mid, now you run down whoever it is, and then you have Gwen who has HP shred against Mundo. It's a perfect matchup. I think that's what Tiffin was planning for here, and it works out. Just you have to remember you left the Talia open now, right? Talia is gonna zone the hell out of Cho'Gath. That's the issue. Is Cho'Gath is not gonna be able to get up on Talia because right as that knockup pops up, literally, if I'm Jakimbo, he's a smart enough player. He's comfortable enough with Talia that if you see a knockup coming and you know
Yeah.
you can't dodge, just throw your W. Just knock Cho'Gath away.
Hmm.
There's nothing you can do. It's a zoning issue for Cho'Gath. So I think although the lane swap idea will work, I think it'll be a lot harder than Tiffin thinks it will be. Um, it's just they have to watch out for Mundo, but I need to see who they pick in this top lane here.
Yeah. I mean, I love it when teams do this in the draft, like Tiffin did here, leaving all this ambiguity and flexibility, really. I mean, you've got, three champions that can kind of all, flip between where they're going. And I mean, even within the game, if your players
Here
are
comes the
flexible
yep,
enough.
there it is. There's
Okay.
the Gwen top. Okay, they did lane swap like I expected it to.
Yes.
They
So,
are gonna run either the Cho'Gath jungle or the Graves jungle, right?
yep.
Which is most likely gonna be Graves jungle.
Yeah,
But
so we cut to the actual in-game selection here to
yep,
see that it's a Gwen top, and I mean, how does this adaptation change things? I mean, what's gonna happen? And okay, now we see the
yep,
Graves will
it's
be
gonna be
jungle,
Cho'Gath
so
mid. All right.
it's gonna be
Um,
Cho mid.
I
Okay.
will I will say I feel bad for Anaya because her first game back it's gonna be a huge counter pick.
Yeah.
Gwen is one of the best people to choose into Scion, into Mundo, into Cho'Gath, right? No, whoever you choose is insanely good because it's HP shred. It's percent max HP shred. Anytime you hear percent max HP on any ability, immediate tank buster, right?
Right.
So you have that now where Gwen will scale up with the Mundo and just be able to shred him to half health with Qs. It's gonna be really dangerous for him. So
And
Anaya's gonna have to play around more of just a team fighting aspect rather than trying to take these 1v1s because although early you might win a little bit, Mundo is just going to kind of have a hard time late game into that solo lane with Gwen.
yeah, and I mean this really changes, all of the matchups. Now that we're looking at, let's just go down the line here. We now have Graves versus Sejuani in the jungle.
Yep.
What is this gonna be like here?
So I think the issue is that a lot of Tiflin's draft, right, is very 1v1 matchup. So, right, we talked about the Gwen. This Graves into the Sejuani is usually Sejuani favored, right? But just by a tiny bit. Not so much
Hmm.
that like a 1v1 will be won by Sejuani, but that Graves has a harder time working around his team than Sejuani does, right? But even then, like you take the Gwen, you take the Cho'Gath mid, you have a Xayah Nautilus, right? All these lanes are very strong 1v1s, 2v2s, but team fighting wise, their synergy is really not there. You don't have like other than damage, you don't have much from Gwen. Cho'Gath is not going to get as much like health and time to scale if he's playing the mid lane because Talia will have just so much of a faster roam than him, right? And will be able to clear wave faster. And then you have the Braum and Caitlyn in the bot lane. Well, you still have the Nautilus Xayah. So I think the bot lane is the most even part, but taking these kind of lane counter picks, you're relying a lot on getting early, getting a very early lead. So if you don't get that lead, it's going to be hard for Tiflin to fight. But we are going to take a quick break here as we transition into game three. We're going to go through spectator delay, see what's popping, see what's runes we got, see what summoner spells we have, and we will be back with you guys in an instant.
Yep.
coming at you like monsters in the night, and you feel the danger that makes you wanna hide. When the cards are stacked against you and you're standing on the edge, now's the time, now's the time. Think about all the dreams you keep inside. Think about all the ones you love. I know this beating heart will be my guide. I know that we can know.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the start of Game 3. I mean, NECC Week 9. Right now, 1-1 series, Valpo versus Tiffin. Anybody can take it. As we hop onto the Rift here, we're going to take a look at summoner spells. We're going to take a look at runes. We're going to check out what's going on, right? See if there's any really big switch-ups here.
Yeah,
Um,
but I mean, this is it, kind of all on the line. And very, very interesting draft that, we kind of just talked through, but, you know, like we were saying, kind of while we were in that break, I think there's a lot of pressure here on Dreadful just
mhm.
because that's, the one matchup that you knew that you drafted for. You saw the Zaya
Yep,
Nautilus come in and you picked that Caitlyn Braum. And all the other matchups were like, you kind of didn't really know. So I
yeah,
think just because, you had that element of knowledge and the ability to pick for the matchup that, Dreadful does have to perform in this game.
definitely. I think you also have to be careful, though, that there's some weird shots here. But, Emmett Kimbo, looking at his runes, usually he likes to take the Unsealed Spellbook with Talia, which is really strong, but having first strike in this matchup is so huge because he's facing a Hail of Blades Cho'Gath, which means Cho'Gath is going to be going AP, right? He has to. Somebody has to do damage. Although you do have the Gwen AP top, but you have that heavy like Graves carry jungle, right? So
Minions have spawned.
going against like someone with AP, someone that doesn't have much sustain, getting that first strike gold generation throughout those waves, especially with Talia's Q and how it stacks, is going to be huge for him.
Yeah. You mentioned AP Cho'Gath. My friend's still in chat there. He is an enjoyer, so
Yep.
I'm sure he will be happy about that. But um, yeah, I mean, like you said, I do like, the first strike pickup there. And I mean, this is going to be an interesting one. I think in the top lane, like you said, could be a little bit of a rough one back here for Anaya, just because of that switch up. She's playing into a Gwen instead of a Cho'Gath, so very, very different expectations.
Yep. And we're seeing here just like how this kind of mid lane is going off a little bit. Cho'Gath does have a lot of damage on his early abilities. It's kind of one thing you just underestimate because you see him so much in, a tankier top lane that if his abilities hit, they hit pretty hard. So it's going to be a delicate dance of Jakimbo when he wants to step up and get that first strike gold generation and when he's just okay with tanking a couple of shots. But you're going to see, I mean, this kind of pressure is going to lead to such an early shove. Already putting that Cho'Gath in a really tough position. But we're seeing this top lane as well. Gwen just being so strong into an HP tank like Mundo.
And looking at the bot lane, we did it. Nobody hid in the bush to start this one
Woo!
off.
Woo! No bad trades. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
We did it. We're
So
slowly improving.
yes, starting off strong there.
Yep, and we do see an early gank as well, maybe trying to get a flash out, but it looks like Emma Kimbo won't have to flash there. There's the E and the W under the tower, trying to even just a little bit of that damage out. Graves is trying to get something, but Sejuani not even rotating. You have to be careful, though. You do have a couple of pings, knowing that Graves did walk up in that jungle.
Yeah, I mean, what is Graves, really gonna bring to this team comp? I feel like it's been a while since we've seen him in any of our games and any
Yeah.
of our matchups.
I mean, Graves is known for being a power farmer, right? His gank potential is, whatever, right? He has pretty good ganks, but it's not like the meta we're seeing right now with Vi and Jarvan. But his full clear is very strong because he will come back. He can buy like a longsword and start killing you, right? Like that's really all he needs to get like a one burst kill. He has very high scalings when he gets up close to you. He's very bullyish, right? He likes to play that early kind of, in your face kind of fight. So I think we're going to see him get this clear, which is why seeing him in that lane might have been a little bit of a surprise to Chikimbo as well, to see how aggressive he was. But we're going to see him get a clear off, just kind of walk around, go back, maybe buy an item, and then really start to show up in these lanes.
Yeah, but like you said, definitely, the surprise worked out well, able to get a lot of damage off on Jakimbo, so
Yep.
a good little bit of a start there for Tiffin.
Yep, I mean, while not forcing any sums, is making it really uncomfortable to play in this lane. And we're seeing this Cho'Gath here just trying to back up, playing the range pretty well, right? I mean, right now, we know that Talia is at her weakest because she does not have items. So, no item Talia is really, really weak, but we know that Talia's scalings are just huge when it comes to that mid-game, that one item spike.
This one, starting off a little quieter before we had seen both these teams, be really aggressive and get a lot of engagements, a lot of kills, but I think both of them are recognizing, hey, this is game 3, a lot is on the line here for, playoff seeding and just, bragging rights as well. So,
Yep.
playing carefully on both sides, but we will see kind of an engage here.
Walking up, I mean, you know that Braum has E. It's a lot of protection that you have behind that, so you can kind of afford to take a couple of shots to try and get that Braum passive, knocked on that Nautilus.
And we do see Vector working down bot side here, maybe looking for a little bit of something.
Yep. Just looking for maybe a gank. Right, Graves just clearing. Right, double longsword. There's the E coming out as well. Steamroller jumping in as well with the W, trying to just stop any damage on Dreadful, but that trade will go in Tiffin's favor. Vector is in the bot lane, gonna try and help shove out. Not really look for a dive here, but here comes Graves as well in this bot lane, trying to turn this a huge hook as well. The heal coming in from Dreadful, trying to knock up Vector, slowly taking that front line. The Graves W coming in, a lot of damage coming out. The W coming in back from Braum walking up, but the R from Gwen is going to be enough to get that kill on Mundo. Just that shred is huge. Here comes Talia down in this bot lane. There's a huge stun and Dreadful being able to pick up that kill there. Graves not getting anything with that last shot, but the flash from the Cho'Gath and the Q as well. This might be a quadra kill for this Cho'Gath. There it is.
And this
Oh
is just
no.
a bloodbath in the bot lane.
Ooh.
You thought they might have been able to make it out, but I mean, it's the rotation from the Cho'Gath.
Oh.
If he's not there, Valpo gets away, but he is able to come down and, just a
Yeah.
clean 4-0. This is kind of about the worst possible start you could project for Valpo here.
Yeah, I mean, now Talia's going to have a really, really rough time in this lane. I mean, and just, you're going to see here with the AP Cho'Gath come out. Want to look at what first item is going to pop off here. Yeah, there's the Kindle Gem and Lost Chapter with the boots as well. Comparison to the Tier, Crystal, and book from
Yeah.
Chikimbo.
I mean, he just bought everything. He bought the whole store there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big spike here for him.
Yeah.
At just 7 minutes in, so.
Yeah, I mean, quadra kill, 7 minutes in. Really, what did we expect else from the series? But we're seeing as well in this top lane, right? That first early kill going down, just being so tough for Mundo to play. It's the reason why they switched this matchup, and quite frankly, this is what they needed, right? We talked about them winning these lane matchups, winning these early fights, and this is like perfect for them. Because this is best case scenario. You get 4 kills to your Cho'Gath, you get a kill to your Gwen, and now you're sitting pretty in those lanes that you took advantages in.
Yeah, I mean, Valpo definitely on the back foot. We're gonna need some more Jakimbo and Dreadful heroics to fight our way back into this one. Tiffin also picking up the Drake on off that engagement. So just overall very, very solid and strong start for them in game number 3.
And we're seeing now just kind of a boring start, but just how much pressure this bot lane has, knowing that Graves is a little bit harder to, or a little bit slower to get down to their lane. They're able to just freely kind of push these waves up.
Yeah, definitely not liking the boring start in the booth, as it is
Yep.
Up to
But
1040
here
here.
comes Vector as well, dashing in as well. The W coming out from Gwen, the R as well, the stun, the E on Gwen, trying to get something, but Gwen is just so strong, shredding them. They're going to be forced to back up. Anaya trying to walk around, just get a little bit of a dash. Gwen's passive is back up, and I think they might just have to leave. There's the dash in and the Q. Not going to be much, but here comes Graves. The dash in from Vector is just going to be too much as the R finishing off. Cho'Gath also rotating to this top lane. I mean, I think these counter ganks are just too strong right now because you have you have such a fight, right, where it's a counter pick and you're fighting into a counter pick. Even if you're 2v1, it's going to be really tough. And now you just keep forcing these fights. You keep walking exactly what they want to do. They want to win right now, right? They want to win these lanes very early. That if you just keep forcing this, it becomes really, really tough. Have to be careful though. R is coming back up for Dreadful. If Xayah shows again, she might just get R'd and killed. Um, you have to be careful because Xayah is getting pretty dangerously low right now. And nobody there to block for her as well.
Yeah. I mean, overall, this has been kind of a brutal start here for Valpo.
Very brutal start. Yep. I mean, it is only a 2k gold lead, right? But we're talking about early in the game. Gold leads and kind of their difference gets like exponential almost, right?
Yeah.
A 2k gold lead is like around, like the 6k gold lead. Give it like 10 minutes, like, gets to 8k. These kind of things grow on themselves.
Yeah.
So seeing
And
the
I mean,
2k,
sure, gold is, a good metric, but there are other things. I mean, you just look at the Cho'Gath and, where he's at item-wise,
yeah,
and just, the overall, looking at the
we're seeing
matchups
here.
as well as we
There
see
goes
the
the R
Gwen.
coming out from Gwen. Gwen dashing in. Almost getting it. Not going to be able to get it. The Braum R coming down on the bot side though. And we do have a fight under tower getting knocked under. Dreadful taking a couple of shots. Probably going to be on Vector to just finish off. But Emma Chikimbo gets that kill. Vector tanking. Not going to die. That is a clean dive on that bot side. Getting back a little bit there. And that's kind of what you need to get in this game.
And there is something for Valpo. A little light of hope. A double kill coming here in the bot lane. Finally just something going their way in this game.
And you can see right here, Gwen did get the drop in the top lane, but now you have a lot of items on this Emma Chikimbo, and you're seeing a lot of chip damage go out. Vector has to be careful though. Not really anyone that can deal with that Graves right now. Graves being on Black Cleaver. Super strong, just dashing around. There's the R, just save Vector. Will Red Buff kill him? I don't think so. Graves' R is not up though, so he'll just be forced to walk back. Unsuccessful with any of the kills, but I mean, now we're seeing Gwen being able to solo lane, having Riftmaker in that top side, just so strong.
And I mean that was a nerve-wracking engagement there. I was holding my breath, seeing the Graves come in, full health, ready to go, and all of Valpo's members incredibly low. So,
Yep.
awesome route there, potentially game-saving route.
And we're seeing right here the reason why Emma Chikimbo just feels so strong, getting both flashes out. Flash for flash is what you can do, but just the Qs being so strong.
And you know what? I'm back. I was starting to lose hope for this game, but just seeing how the last few minutes went here, I think we can get back in for sure. So.
Yep. And there's the flash coming out from Xayah as well. Hey, here comes another engage from Gwen. Gwen, the R coming out just the slow. And that's just so much damage walking back. Anaya might not be able to get out of this, but unless we get a dash in from Vector here. A Steamroller going in, looking for maybe a W on Dreadful just to try and get away. There's the flash W. The knockup from Nautilus is not going to be enough as Dreadful flashes away as well.
Anaya able to escape from the Gwen, so still only died once. I think you gotta feel decent about that.
And you have to be careful. The R going out, but the R getting blocked by Steamroller. The W as well. This is just a really bad engage right now for Valpo. Dreadful kind of accepting his death. He just has to get out of this with something. There's the Q, and the hitbox was doing favors, doing numbers there, as the Nautilus Q does pull in, get that kill to Xayah.
I mean, not that it's gonna happen this way, but if we look at the previous games in this series, the team that has had Nautilus has won
Uh,
both of those games.
yeah.
So if we follow the pattern out, Tiffin does have the Nautilus and a pretty big lead here. So
If it was just that simple, man, we would draft Nautilus every game. But I do see what you're saying. He
yes,
has a
yeah,
ton of an impact right now on these games.
uh-huh.
Yeah, but it's just impossible for Anaya to try and lane against this Gwen here.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to feel kind of bad, watching it and seeing. I mean, it's not really on her, right? I mean, there's not much she can do here.
Not really, no. Trying to fight over this ward here, but not gonna be able to get it.
And once again, Valpo finding themselves behind. You thought with that double kill they might be able to fight back in, but now we are still seeing them in a decently sized deficit here.
Yep.
But,
I mean,
Jakimbo, like you said, potential bright spot, able to come online and get some of this damage going.
yep. I mean, it was just such a good start for Tiffin that it's really, really tough for Valpo to try and get back in this game, right?
I
Because you
mean,
had a top.
we do see them already claiming objective bounties 14
Yeah.
minutes into the game, so.
Yeah, 14-minute objective bounties is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we're looking at it. It's just, unlucky fight on that one bot side. Your top side had advantage already, and then you got the first two drags. So you're putting Valpo in a really strong, or a really bad spot right now. Just trying to get back into this game.
I'm ready for a little more action as it's almost 11 o'clock here, and a little bit tired in the booth for sure for us.
It happens. It happens. But I mean, hey, it's what we do. We're here for a reason. So, a couple of clears in mid lane, right? Trying to walk down. Remember that you do have both mid lane towers up, right? Valpo is tied for towers right now, but you do have objective bounties up. So, should see another couple popping off and soon. But they will rotate to this mid lane, try and clear this wave. Graves also taking this pressure, invading this jungle, knowing that he can walk up with this Nautilus.
Yep, as we do see Rift Herald is up here, and it looks like Tiffin's looking to claim this one pretty quickly. So.
Yep. I mean, being able to take this one, you have so much prio that Valpo's just kind of forced to clear out this wave here. Both the Xayah and the Caitlyn are completely even in items as well, which is kind of funny. So pretty basic matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, in the...
Hey, there he goes. Really, really close right there from Vector. Just kind of playing a bit of a funny game. The Xayah just shocked, I'd say. Like, nothing you can do.
The great
Reaction
escape.
time is one thing, but when you're just not expecting it, it's a little bit hard.
Uh-huh. The great escape there by Vector. But we do see Anaya once again having to
Oh
deal.
my gosh.
Oh,
Just the shred from Gwen being able to get hit by that true damage in that
yeah.
that middle of the queue. It
Damage
becomes so
is
tough,
just
but I mean,
truly disgusting.
we're looking at Mundo recover his health back, and it's almost like he won the trade.
Yeah.
Now he has more health. So Rift Herald is dropped mid though. Graves does take that, and it looks like they are clearing for drag as Xayah does start up this dragon. A couple of pings going down as Anaya fights in this top lane. Gwen taking this advantage. Yep, and there's a couple of shots as well. The knockup coming from Braum, huge shots, but Graves comes in, gets the double kill. Xayah shots to the back line,
Yeah.
gets the kill on the Braum, and that is going to be Dragon. Pushing them to 3 drags, next one going to be Soul Point, and furthering that lead to around, an 8k gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, the quadra kill, the third
Yeah.
drag, it's just, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think the game's over, man.
It's getting a little bit rough for Valpo, but I think just Tiffin knew what their win cons were. They had to win early, right? And that's what they did.
I mean, yeah, I would almost say that this game was won in the draft. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen, quite, the outplay almost that Tiffin pulled there in that draft with, making everyone think it was going to be that Cho'Gath top, playing into this Mundo and then, pulling out the Graves and the Gwen and flipping literally everything around on Valpo.
Yeah, I mean, you take these kind of counter picks, right? And if you're Valpo, you're looking at what's weak about this, right? And it's just like fighting as a team. Because even then in that last fight, right? Although Tiffin is so far ahead, there still was a chance for Valpo to win that, right? It's these team fights that's weakest, but you just didn't get to that point. You never got to that point. It became where you were fighting, lane after lane after lane, and it felt like those counter matchups were just, getting the best of Valpo.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, when you're at this point, at this game state, it almost feels like, all the members of Tiffin are just so strong. I mean, Valpo can't do much themselves. They kind of have to hope that Tiffin messes up somehow here,
Yeah.
so they can take advantage of that. But if Tiffin is on top of their game and playing with this lead very competently, I don't really see how they're gonna be able to lose this one. So.
'Cause, I mean, it's just like it's really rough right now.
That's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough.
I've said so many like analogies. I'm like, oh, it's like this, but they can get in. No, this one's just tough. Valpo just has to kind of scrap away with whatever they can for the rest of this game. Get as much as they can from it and hopefully move on.
Yeah.
But unless they can get a pick here, they do see the couple of shots, the E coming from Jakimbo, but a huge knockup from Cho'Gath and a dash in. Zaya picks up that kill. Cho'Gath finishes off the Talia. Graves, Talia.
And yeah, another quadra kill here for Tiffin. First time chatter saying.
Steal.
First time chatter over here saying go Vector. Not the greatest moment to be tuning in here.
Especially
Sorry,
after
man.
he's getting dunked on right now. That sucks. Sorry, man.
But I'm sure Vector appreciates the support regardless here, so.
It's alright. I mean, we still love Vector.
Go back in the VOD and watch game 2.
Watch game 2.
Yes.
Just watch game 2 and then turn your brain off for game 3. Act like you didn't watch this.
Correct, yes.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's the plan.
If you didn't know, we actually never got to game 2. Or we never got to game 3 actually.
Yeah.
This is just a continuation.
They decided that, we're not going to do a best of 3. It's just whoever wins game 2. That's how it's going.
That's
so,
what it was.
Yeah.
That's what Tiffin agreed to before this game. They said, hey,
100%.
listen, we know we're 1 seed and all, right? We know we're good, so let's make it like this. You know, and they changed it up for us. So we won game
in this
2.
one, we're playing, just for fun. It was a for fun game 3.
Yeah, we let them sign T1 Faker and T1 Kyria to their team, just as a handicap for us. So they got pro players and we don't.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big conspiracy. It's big esports.
Honestly, I think this is just a win for Valpo.
Yeah, I think we should kind of
T1.
write it down right now. If any NECC officials are watching, I think we can write this as a win for Valpo.
Yeah, no, I fully agree.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, hey, I have like 2 bags of like Easter candy if you'd like. I can pay off. I have no morals. I'll pay off this game. Couple of shots. I mean, pushing down this mid lane.
The Easter candy would work on me. That's
it's
true.
True. I talked about the cupcakes working earlier this stream, so
exactly.
I mean, I'm not far behind, quite frankly.
Oh.
They are just looking to push this lead here, trying to get something out of this. There's a huge knockup. Might see a pick on the Nautilus. The stun coming out as well, and Chikimbo being able to pick up that kill. Knockup from Cho'Gath coming from the side, but it's not going to do much as they are forced to back up. There's a little bit of a sign of life. we got something.
We got a kill.
Something.
We'll take it. I mean, the next big thing here is going to be this dragon, though.
Yep.
So, I mean, even though it's technically a 4v5, it's Tiffin can still win that 4v5. So.
Yeah, definitely. Emma Chikimbo not looking good as he does get caught out there. There's the light skin. There's the near sight. Although Caitlyn does pick up a kill there. And I am now finally in this fight walking down. Emma Chikimbo taking a couple of shots. That's another shutdown as well. Picking up 3 kills. Might be able to get 4 here. Julian does pick up a final one, but you have to remember, Gwen is just in the base. if they don't back right now, Gwen will end this game.
Please do not trade for Nexus again here, Valpo.
Yeah, we might pull a funny here. as great as a trade that was for Valpo,
Okay,
um,
we are back. We're gonna be able to defend the Gwen here, I
yeah,
think.
but Gwen might just run over Chikimbo and them. You have to be really careful here because he still does have R up.
Okay.
Yep, there's the
Uh,
R as well,
okay.
and that's the triple kill. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So.
This is
So it looks
hey,
like
NECC, NECC, close your eyes, close your eyes. Don't do this.
so it
You
looks
don't want to
like
do this. Uh,
it looks like a game 3 might be ending pretty soon here.
might be a
So,
little bit soon. Not exactly the best look.
you know,
I mean, here's a snipe, but the W just immediately stops that. Not much you can do.
I
Dashing up. Maybe we're gonna get the kill. Oh, Caitlyn looking good here. Never mind. Already used the R dash away. Nothing you can do.
so while the Gwen has been 1v5ing, the rest of the team has been picking up soul point, or the soul, sorry, and
Yep.
I'm guessing they're just gonna push the mid lane here. So
Yeah. So if you're watching this right now, um,
don't.
don't just close your eyes for a little bit. You know,
Normally I like it when people watch our streams, but
yeah.
just turn it off.
Maybe
Man.
not this one.
You
There's
don't
a
need
couple
to
of
see
stunts
this.
here. Yeah. I think this is the one where, have you ever thought about reading a book, maybe? Like, books are cool. I think they're underrated. There's the R coming in for Braum, but I mean the R from Gwen as well. Combined with the Graves and the Xayah, pull from the Nautilus, the R coming out from Xayah as well, and that's going to be game. That is going to be a team wipe. Anaya is still in the base as well, though. Not really going to be much, though, as they will push in this wave, and that will be the series going over to... and I just run. Just run. There's not even a point. Just leave.
Uh-huh.
Um, but that will be NECC Week 9 series going over to Tiffin 2-1. First game being a little bit rough, right? Second game going really well in Valpo's favor. Third game just a stomp. I mean, like,
Yeah.
what can you do? But
I mean,
that's what happens.
I think, all things considered, Valpo picking up a game, is
Yep.
a win. Tiffin, a very strong opponent, by far the top seed in our division here at
Yep.
a 7-1 now, 8-1 record.
Yep.
But Valpo still gonna make the playoffs. Gonna be, I don't know exactly how the seeds are gonna work out, but somewhere in that mid-wing 4, 5, 6 range.
Yep.
And that's probably gonna be next week here.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's a lot to take away from this series, although, we laugh and joke about that last game being a little bit rough, right?
uh-huh.
A little bit of a, it just,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on kind of thing, but outside of that, there's a lot to learn from that game, especially going into the playoffs, like you said. Being in a good spot. Honestly, I feel very confident for Valpo going into these NECC playoffs. I think
Hmm.
that they're looking really good, and
Yeah.
apart from that game, I think the synergy is starting to get back together. So I'm really excited to see how they'll do. But
Yeah, and I think kind of, aside from Tiffin, you kind of feel pretty good about most other opponents. So,
definitely, definitely. But I mean, that's gonna be it for us in the booth today. I mean, late night, but if you're still here with us, thank you for hanging out.
mm,
Thank you for all the support that you've shown. I'm your host, Kembe. I'm here with my co-host,
I'm Mike.
and we want to wish you guys a great week. See you.
See ya.
When the world's so cold and we're losing hope, I need her, I need her. When the darkness comes and we're overrun, yeah, I need her. That's when we